Chapter 81, The Horse Steps into the Joint Venture, Scoring Consecutive Goals. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Deportivo put up an iron bucket formation. To be honest, this is not surprising. After all, Malaga is a top-ranked team. However, in this way, the game may seem relatively dull. In the commentary seat, Andres, the commentator of Kobe TV, frowned and said, as a neutral commentator, he is similar to a neutral fan. What he hopes to see is of course a fierce confrontation, with many goals, a fast pace, and blood boiling, but on the court, such scenes are not too common. Most teams are unlikely to directly play against each other in order to pursue victory, especially in games with a huge gap between strength and weakness. For relegation, it is also understandable for Deportivo to put up an iron bucket formation. Now the test is Malaga's ability to break through the dense defense. Pellegrini's team is considered to be the best team in La Liga after a wave of victories, but what they are good at is in counterattack. Their counterattack trident is infinitely powerful, but now facing the opponent's dense defense, what kind of performance can they show? For Yi Luo, the situation may be a bit difficult, because the opponent is defending intensively and the space is very small. It may be very difficult for him to continue his record of consecutive goals. Zhang Jun, the commentator of Xinlang Sports, also frowned. Fans of Dragon Kingdom are also a little worried. After all, everyone knows that breaking dense defense is a world-class problem. Even if Deportivo's state is not good, their players are at least La Liga level players, and the Taitong formation they put up is not easy to break. For Malaga, facing the dense defensive formation put on by the opponent is indeed a bit overwhelming. The football passed on the periphery for most of the day without finding a breakthrough. In the end, Yi Luo tried a long shot from outside the penalty area, but was blocked by the dense crowd in the penalty area, and was then cleared by the defender. Of course, Deportivo will not let Malaga try to shoot from the outside casually, because long-range shooting sometimes requires some luck. If Malaga's luck goes against the sky and hits the world wave, then this intensive defense will be meaningless. Their defensive shape will remain flexible and any Malaga player who gets the ball on the outside will find the angles leading to goal blocked. Except for long shots, there are only a few ways to break the dense defense. Personal breakthroughs disrupt the defense, or rely on the high center forward to hit the header with a cross from the side. However, in the face of dense defense, this method is also a bit difficult to score goals. Yi Luo tried a personal breakthrough, but in a narrow space. No matter how strong the breakthrough ability is, it is difficult to get through the crowd. In the 10th minute of the game, Yi Luo passed the ball from the wing and failed to find a shooting angle. In the end, he could only move to the right side and gave it to Isco. After receiving the ball, Isco swept the ball towards the penalty area. The football was cleared. Malaga once again faced an opponent's 11-man bus sidelines. When Deportivo's head coach Latina saw this scene, his heart, which was still a little bit uneasy, was a little relieved. From this 10-minute game scene, 2 points can be summed up. First of all, Malaga's ability to break dense defenses is not very good. They are not good at attacking in positional warfare, and their state is not good. This is normal. After all, they have won 9 games in a row. With so many wins in a row, under the pressure of the winning streak, it is normal for Malaga's players to decline. The second is the reason for Deportivo's own side. It was useful to boost the morale of the team before the game. What Yi Luo said in the media angered the Deportivo players. Discipline is super. If offense requires players' inspiration and talent, then defense requires discipline and willpower. In this regard, Deportivo has no shortage. So, there is indeed a chance to score points in this game. The expectation in Lotina's heart was even greater. After Yi Luo completed this attack, the camera lens locked onto Yi Luo. However, from the expression on his face, he didn't seem to be affected in any way. In fact, Yi Luo was not discouraged either. After all, he had already expected such a scene. As his performance gets better and better, opponents will target him with more and more defensive arrangements. Intensive defense and the scene of setting up the bus are actually nothing special. For offensive players, if you fail once, try a second time, a third time. For forwards, maybe his offense was blocked in a game, and his shots were all resolved, but just one success is enough. And even if the defenders succeed 10 times, as long as they fail once, they will lose the ball. Therefore, mentality is the most important thing, and Yi Luo is not in a hurry. He quickly cruised to the perimeter to catch the ball again, as the core of the team's offense. Yi Luo has many opportunities to get the ball, and the opponent's low-post defense. Yi Luo can easily get the ball by retreating to the midfield, but in this way, he will be farther away from the goal and further back. The possibility of threatening the goal will naturally be lower. Yi Luo retreated to the center circle and turned around after receiving the ball. He keeps the ball at his feet in order to attract the opponent's players to grab and create space, but it is in vain to find out who and what to do. Deportivo's players made up their minds to set up the bus, as long as yellow did not appear in the dangerous area such as the front of the penalty area. There is no one to grab the ball in the midfield. Reluctantly, Yi Luo passed the ball and ran forward, while observing the opponent's defense, looking for any possible loopholes. Time just passed by like this. The pace of the game became very slow, it makes people drowsy. Deportivo La Coruña put up a very dense defensive formation in this game. The whole team shrank and almost completely gave up the front court and midfield. Up to now, Malaga has not found a good way to break the dense defense. The narrator Andres shook his head and said, "This is indeed a very important test for Malaga, and it is also true for Yi Luo. A truly strong team must have its own methods and routines when facing such a positional attack, but it is very difficult. Obviously Malaga lacked that. Faced with this situation, what kind of performance will Yi Luo show? He has scored in 9 consecutive league games. If he continues to score in this game, he will tie the La Liga players' consecutive goals record, comparable to Messi and Ronaldo." Andres' tone was full of expectation. He was indeed looking forward to Yi Luo's performance, because he believed that with the ability of a talented player like Yi Luo, it was impossible to be restricted in this situation. Looking at Yi Luo's expression, there was no sign of anxiety at all, even though his attack in the previous 3 to 10 minutes failed to threaten the opponent's goal, but he's still raising his hand for the ball. Don't be discouraged. At this time, Yi Luo is raising his hand. The football was also quickly stuffed under his feet. He took the ball and turned around, very easily, because there were no opposing defenders around. After turning around, what Yi Luo faced was the iron wall of La Coruña. To be exact, it is 4 fronts, 4 lines of defense. The first line is the first harassing defense composed of striker Adrian and French offensive midfielder Desmo Maritz. The second line of defense is 4 defensive midfielders, namely Saul, Anthony Thomas, Ruben Perez, and Guardado. The third direction is their back line, left back Manuel Pablo, right back Lor, center back combination Lobo and Cloto. The fourth line of defense is the starting goalkeeper Alan Shuvaya in front of the goal line. To be honest, there are basically no stars in this lineup. They're all unrecognizable players. However, these players are basically between the ages of 25 and 30. They are all veterans who have played in La Liga for many years, and they have rich game experience. Yi Luo's previous attempts to attack were all resolved. This time Yi Luo made a comeback again. After summing up the experience of previous failures, yellow challenges Deportivo's defense again. To score a goal is to break through these 4 lines of defense. For checkpoints, cross the ball, forward, 2/1. The first line of defense was breached. At this time, Yi Luo was facing 4 midfielders who were shrinking in the middle. The first opponent is the Spanish midfielder Saul. After receiving the ball, Yi Luo easily moved the ball in front of him, and the speed also slowed down a little. Saul was very nervous at first, but now he was slightly relieved after seeing Yi Luo slow down. Yi Luo's speed was too fast. Thinking of competing for speed with Yi Luo, Saul's scalp felt a little numb. Now that the opponent's speed has slowed down, it's a little less scary. As long as something goes wrong, there's still time to make a foul. Just when Saul was thinking, Yi Luo also approached him with the ball. The speed was not fast throughout the process, and there was no intention of speeding up. Are you going to try a feint? Saul thought. His urge to foul was already on the rise. Anyway, it's still far away from the goal. It's better to knock Yi Luo to the ground directly than to let him hold the ball and try to break through. Although Yi Luo did not score any goals in the previous offense, Deportivo's players, especially those defending on the perimeter, the midfielder and the 2 fullbacks were all tortured by Yi Luo. Now as soon as Yi Luo got the ball, the hearts of these defensive players thumped. His embarrassing appearance was spread all over the world through the live broadcast. Just when Saul was thinking about the timing of the foul, Yi Luo's left shoulder sank. Want to jump to the left? Do not, no. That's right. As soon as Saul had this idea, he saw Yi Luo smashing the ball to the right. Sure enough, it is on the right. Saul adjusted his center of gravity and did not go up to grab. He just ensured that he was on the line of the opponent's breakthrough, forcing Yi Luo to slow down, but just when his center of gravity followed the right side of Yi Luo's breakthrough, that is, his own left side, Saul was startled suddenly, and his body paused. Yi Luo's center of gravity changed too quickly. At the moment Saul's center of gravity changed, Yi Luo suddenly changed his center of gravity, turned his body to the left, and kicked his right foot. After a change of pace, a quick croquette passes Saul. The continuous and rapid changes in the center of gravity made Saul think of turning around, but his body seemed to be immobilized by an immobilization spell, and he froze in place, watching Yi Luo whizzing past him. After Yi Luo passed Saul in this way, his speed also increased. Oh 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 oh. Beautiful. Fried meatballs. Yi Luo is up with the ball. In the stands, the commentators shouted, but actually, there are still many defensive players in front of Yi Luo. The first is Guardado, a defensive midfielder who is lagging behind, followed by the opponent's 4 defenders. Now in front of Yi Luo is Guardado, who is fighting and retreating, blocking the angle of Yi Luo's possible shot, and the 4 defenders also completed the division of labor in the first time. Up top, collision, procrastinate, a completed defensive system took shape all of a sudden. The other Deportivo players also quickly turned and returned to fill the perimeter of this defensive system. After all, they didn't actually push up. Even if Yi Luo missed 1 or 2 people, they could quickly return to the penalty area to participate in the defense. At this moment, Yi Luo was controlling the football, as if he didn't see that the opponent had set up the encirclement circle, and was just waiting to catch a turtle in the urn. Keep going. Yi Luo completed the breakthrough, but he should pass the ball quickly. Zhang Jun said, Yi Luo faced the densest defense in the middle. In this case, passing the ball wide to stretch the dense defense in the middle seems to be a very smart choice, but let's not say that it is impossible for Yi Luo to hear Zhang Jun's suggestion now. Even if he did, he would not listen. In his eyes, only the opponent's goal is left. In fact, it is similar to pass more, dribble less, don't be too independent. Yi Luo heard it countless times during his youth training. In the eyes of many youth training coaches in Longwa, young players like to break through with the ball, which is a heinous crime. You like it now, and you can live it. Will you still be able to live it in the professional arena? Something like this. Yi Luo felt calloused in his ears, but in Yi Luo's opinion, I am a star in Malaga. If this is the case, don't come forward and solve the problem yourself. Is that still the core? That still deserves to be the core. Afraid of surpassing others, afraid of challenging the opponent's defense. Could it be a superstar? He needs to score. He needs to win too. Yi Luo's defense against Guardado was not complicated. In the small space, he was not allowed to make any complicated and fancy moves. Rushing over, Guardado stretched out his hand, but when he saw that Yi Luo had stepped into the restricted area, he was so startled that he retracted his hand like a spring. Anyway, the 2 defenders have been blocked. Guardado thought. Yi Luo made a shot, but changed his attention when he saw 2 defenders in front of him. A forced shot has a high probability of hitting the opponent. He made a false shot and dunked the ball to his right foot, then dribbled the ball laterally in the penalty area to avoid the angle, forcing the opposing defender to move the moment. He flicked his right foot. Oxtail! The narrator shouted. After this oxtail passed, Yi Luo made a breakthrough near the penalty area line, and his body got out from the gap between the 2 defenders. In the process, he saw a passage to the goal. Without any hesitation, the first time after passing through the gap between people. Raise your feet. Sweep. The football ran to the lower left corner of the goal against the ground. This is a theoretical dead end. The goalkeeper has nothing to do with it. When Malaga's number 10 ran with open arms in celebration, the shocked Deportivo players stared dumbfounded at the ball bouncing inside the goal, appalled, shocked, incredible, even to the point of helplessness. All kinds of emotions made the expressions of Deportivo players a little dull, but they all know. Under the blow of this goal by Malaga number 10, all the strategies they worked out before the game, they were all Smashed to pieces. End of this chapter. Chapter 82. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When the football rolls into the goal, the entire Riazor stadium became quiet, even the commentators forgot to cheer. Andres stared blankly at the monitor of his narration. The picture of Yi Luo appeared on the screen, until the cheers of the Malaga fans who came to the away game roared past like a hurricane, and he reacted suddenly, raising his arms and shouting, "The goal has been scored. Goal!" At the same time, the other commentators also responded one after another. Even the local commentator held his head in his hands, with an incredible look on his face. On the sidelines, Pellegrini staggered and almost dropped his jaw. He thought of many possibilities to break through Deportivo's iron barrel array: direct free kick, cross from the wing, long shot. But he never expected to score goals in the way he is now. This goal is almost as if in a dream. Is this still the way a human player can score a goal? Deportivo coach Ronaldinho saw Yellow break into the penalty area and shoot the ball into the goal with one kick. He was so startled that he jumped up from his seat like a spring. Boom! He hit his head on the ceiling of the bench. Ronaldinho, who covered her head, rushed to the sidelines angrily, but he found that if his anger was directed at his own players, it didn't seem to make any sense. This is not a crime of war. If you want to blame, you can only blame that kid for being too powerful. Such a goal can compete for the best of the season. No, it is the best goal of the last 10 years. The whole process is to rely on the skills at your feet, rely on the control of the football, use fake moves, change the center of gravity, and rely on excellent ball feel to pass a series of defensive players. There is no sudden rush of speed, just constant changes in rhythm and direction. With the observation of the defense line, it seems to be peeling off the cocoon, dismantling Deportivo's bus formation. Ronaldinho frowned. When you encounter such a monster, you can't stop the opponent from scoring, and you can't blame me that he sat back on the coach's bench. This game is basically like this. All his tactics are based on the fact that Deportivo can defend against it. When the other party is anxious and the other party's mentality is confused, Deportivo's opportunity will come. But now Malaga directly scored a goal and took the lead. Then the opponent can retreat comfortably. If you press on, you will face the threat of Malaga's counterattack. Yi Luo's goal completely disrupted Deportivo's defensive deployment. After scoring this goal, Malaga played more calmly. Deportivo is still setting up the bus, but Malaga's mentality is very stable. If there is no chance, they will never risk passing the ball easily. Deportivo will lose at this pace. Sooner or later, therefore, it was Deportivo, who was playing at home, whose mentality was messed up first. Some of their players started trying to press up. The result is that Malaga seized the opportunity. Before the end of the first half, Yi Luo dribbled the ball into the penalty area and picked a pass to the back point, followed by center-forward Baptista with a header and easily sent the ball into the goal. Before the end of the first half, Malaga took a 2-goal lead. Malaga, who scored 2 goals, almost sealed the victory, but isn't there a saying that a 2-goal lead is the most dangerous score? So Malaga continued to pursue goals in the second half. Game number 7:03 minutes, Yi Luo took a long shot from the top of the penalty area and blasted the ball into the goal. After a 3-goal lead, Malaga was completely locked in the victory, and Yi Luo, who scored twice, has just completed the feat of scoring in 10 consecutive games, tying Messi's record. After the game, Deportivo coach Ronaldinho said helplessly, "We lost this game to Yellow completely. If it wasn't for his first goal, we could at least have a draw." A Longwa reporter stood up and asked, "Mr. Ronaldinho, do you have any advice for the young Yi Luo?" Suggestion. Ronaldinho was taken aback. "What's the matter with you Dragon Kingdom people? Yi Luo is such a dick, what advice does he need? Your modesty is a bit hypocritical, right?" So he shook his head directly and said, "I can't give him any advice. He is already the best player in the world. I don't deserve to give him advice." This is the truth, but the ears of Longwa reporters were not used to it. Ronaldinho is an experienced head coach who has coached in La Liga for many years. Here are his qualifications. No matter how powerful Yi Luo is, according to the habits of Longwa football, no matter how good Yi Luo is, Lotina's qualifications are also qualified to say a few words. At the wine table, a young man like Yi Luo has to pass wazi to others. Yi Luo is also being interviewed by the media. "Of course I am very happy to tie the record," and as I said, I will create my own record, Yi Luo said confidently. After dismissing the reporters, Yi Luo, who returned to the locker room, couldn't wait to open the system panel. At this point in the mission system, the side mission of tie record has been completed, and the score has reached S level. Received a mission reward, 1, 3 fusion points, 2. B-level skill, burst shot. Yi Luo was slightly taken aback when he saw the task reward. Unexpectedly, a skill was directly rewarded. Burst shot, B-level skill, passive skill, cannot be upgraded. Skill effect, the shooting power outside the penalty area increases by 10%, and the ball speed increases by 5%. Yi Luo couldn't help but gasp. There are always two contradictions in shooting long shots. It is the contradiction between shooting power and accuracy. There are many examples of people who shot hard enough and ended up masturbating, but in fact, for professional players, as long as they do not deliberately pursue the speed of the ball and reduce the power of the shot, the accuracy of the shot is very high. Therefore, the threat of long-range firing brought by this skill to Yi Luo is greatly improved. Looking at another side mission, break record, Yi Luo couldn't help but look forward to it, then merged the fusion points of the 3 points. Integration progress, 49%. Bernabeu, visiting team locker room. This is 10 minutes before the start of the most focused game of this round. Guardiola gave a rare passionate pre-match speech. This season, Real Madrid has beaten Barcelona almost all the way, which makes the chased Barcelona feel a little uncomfortable, and this game has undoubtedly become the key to this season's Champions League competition, a veritable battle of Tianwangshan. I think everyone knows how important this game is. In Messi's ears, Guardiola's words seem a little vain. He was still thinking about the game he saw yesterday, Malaga's away game against Deportivo. Yi Luo scored twice and scored number 30 league goals this season. At the same time, he also scored in 10 consecutive league rounds, tying his record. What is more critical is Yi Luo's first goal. He dribbled the ball continuously and broke through, almost breaking the dense defense of Deportivo by himself. Such ability is truly astonishing, really unimaginable. This guy only. Messi remembered his, although Messi was well known at that time, he was a potential new star who received the attention of many coaches, but at that time, he hadn't really entered the public eye. The 18-year-old Messi led the Argentine youth team to win the World Youth Championship before entering the public eye. At that time, Messi's translation in Lingua was quite confusing, and there were various translation methods, and 5 years later, the 23-year-old Messi is already one of the best players of his generation, and Yi Luo. At the age of 18, he can almost stand shoulder to shoulder with the 23-year-old Messi. The speed of this young man's rise made Messi speechless. Now on the scorer list, Yi Luo is only 1 goal away from him. Although he missed 1 game, Yi Luo only started to catch up from the number 14 round of the league. In other words, if Yi Luo had gotten the opportunity to start La Liga from the beginning of the season, then Yi Luo might be at the top of the scorer list now. The slightly restrained Messi's face became a little dignified. He is proud and he believes without hesitation that he is the best player in the world, but Yi Luo's appearance made him a little dazed, and even began to have self-doubt. Messi clenched his fists slightly, and something called fighting spirit was boiling in his heart. Leo. Guardiola frowned. Messi, immersed in his own world, suddenly woke up. He raised his head and looked at the head coach. What happened to you? Guardiola frowned. Did he not sleep well last night? No, Antonella didn't come to Madrid with him. And now it's not the Argentine national team. It was Iniesta who shared the room with Messi last night, not Agüero. Nothing. Of course, Messi didn't say that he was thinking about the scorer list. Leo, don't worry, you will definitely score in this game and widen the gap with that guy. Peak said loudly, just that guy. There should be that boy from the Dragon Kingdom, Messi thought. We need to win. We can only win if we score. In the home team locker room, Cristiano Ronaldo is much more flamboyant. He clenched his fist and said loudly, encouraging his teammates to fight, I can't hide my desire for victory and goals. Perhaps it was this desire that made him the football player with the most goals in a professional game ever. The other Real Madrid players in the dressing room also know the importance of this game. And everyone is encouraging each other. This game means a lot to Real Madrid. Champion, revenge. and for Cristiano Ronaldo, also means competition for top scorers. This fierce competition makes him extremely excited, and he can't wait to score one goal after another on the pitch and prove to the world that he is the best player. Malaga. Yi Luo has already moved to live in a detached villa on the outskirts of Malaga. After the game against Deportivo yesterday, Pellegrini gave the team a day off. Now Yi Luo can just watch the Tianwangshan battle between Barcelona and Real Madrid in comfort. Honestly, Yi Luo hoped that Malaga would compete for the championship, but he had no choice. Malaga dug too many holes at the beginning of the season, so Malaga this season can only be reduced to a spectator, and Yi Luo has already set his goal for next season, La Liga champion. Does anyone say that it must be Real Madrid or Barcelona? The competition for the La Liga title next season is fierce. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Simeone's Atletico Madrid, and now Malaga. Staring at the players filing in from both sides on the TV screen, Yi Luo has made up his mind that next season's goal is to become the champion of La Liga. And another purpose of his attention to this game is naturally to pay attention to the two opponents on the scorer list. Messi, who is now the top scorer, has scored 31 goals, and Ronaldo and Yi Luo are ranked second, both scoring goals, but Messi and Ronaldo have one less game. Therefore, whether the two can score in this game is very important. It would be a lie to say that Yi Luo had no expectations. So in the 808th minute of the game, after Cristiano scored the equalizer goal, he turned off the TV. I don't know if it's my own stimulation, both Ronaldo and Messi seem to have played chicken blood in this game. Messi scored 2, Ronaldo scored 2, and both scored twice. The two sides played a 2-2 draw at the Bernabeu Stadium. Yi Luo managed to close the distance, but was pulled away again. After the end of this round of the league, La Liga has become the focus of discussion among European football media. The title race between Real Madrid and Barcelona, the Golden Boot competition in La Liga's top scorer list. Yi Luo has scored goals in 10 consecutive league rounds. As long as he scores another goal in the next round of the league, he can break the record. And Malaga's next game will be away to Mallorca in the second round of the league number 30. Mallorca won the league number 5 last season, but unfortunately, they were banned by UEFA and banned from participating in UEFA's Europa League. But this is a good thing for Mallorca to a certain extent. Because of financial problems, they sold a lot of players at the beginning of this season, and the signings were not strong. This season also brought in Danish passer Michel Laudrup as head coach. The goal of relegation for the season has been successfully completed after the number 30 round of the league. Now that Mallorca has scored points, they have successfully landed in relegation. On the one hand, they are unlikely to enter the European theatre, so for Mallorca, this season has nothing to desire. To some extent, this is not a good thing for Yi Luo. Because of this, if Mallorca doesn't care about winning or losing, he only cares about restricting Yi Luo. Even if Malaga can win the away game, it will be very difficult for Yi Luo to score a goal. This can be seen from what Laudrup said in an interview with the media. I know Yellow is only one game away from breaking the streak, but we're not going to let him get it. He's going to score 10 league goals this season, games in a row. The ball is really great, but we won't be the backdrop for new records. Laudrup said in front of the cameras of the media. It's not that he has any grievances with Yi Luo, rather he had to say so, because no one wants to be the foil for a new record. For those who set the record, it was a great moment to remember. The media will often bring it up for discussion, but for the other side of the record. This is embarrassing, because when it comes to talking about Yi Luo's record, I will never forget to say, he created this record in the game against Mallorca. Who wants to live with such a record? Mallorca's coaches and players have expressed that they will try their best to prevent Yellow from scoring. No matter what the cost, I will not allow him to tie the record in front of us. Mallorca's main central defender Núñez said decisively. The reporters who heard this gasped, so it seems that Yi Luo is not easy to play in this game. End of this chapter. Chapter 83. This is the most extreme defense. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The media are quite excited, they just want to see conflict, and only when there is conflict can there be gimmicks, so they quickly went to interview Yi Luo. How did Yi Luo respond? I'm full of motivation, I want to make history, so I will go all out in the game, no matter what difficulties I encounter. If they think they can stop me, then go ahead. Yi Luo is quite confident. This made some Spaniards at the scene a little uncomfortable, especially with Yi Luo's typical Longua face. It made them feel a little uncomfortable, although Messi is also a foreigner. Messi and the Spaniards are at least in the same cultural circle, and what about Yi Luo? He comes from the Far East. Although racial discrimination has become politically correct in Europe, no one will mention it in public, but being able to become a taboo at least shows that this thing is deeply rooted in their culture. So when Yi Luo showed such self-confidence, which belonged to the people of Longua, many media were very upset, but they can't just say, I just don't want to see a Dragon Country guy break the La Liga record or something like that, because it's one thing to say that in private, but if you say it in public, you will be criticized. So they quickly added more details to the report, highlighting Yi Luo's defiant, in order to anger Mallorca players and fans, and the media deserves to be the best at manipulating public opinion, with their efforts. This match also became Mallorca's battle of honor. It seems that if Mallorca is scored by Yi Luo in this game, they will be nailed to the pillar of shame forever, especially another player from Mallorca. The main central defender Ramis said in public, at the critical moment, I don't mind using fouls to stop him. That this sentence made many Spanish reporters gasp. Ramis is a well-known villain in La Liga. He has a lot of unconventional big movement defensive moves. He is a professional red and yellow card player in La Liga. In fact, he has just returned from a red card suspension in the home game against Mallorca. The guy has 3 red cards in La Liga this season, 2 of them are straight red, and 1 is 2 yellows and 1 red. The suspension alone stopped 8 games. His face was also very vicious. It belongs to the kind of movie where you can play the villain without even makeup. Did he really say that? Yi Luo frowned slightly. See Yi Luo's expression. Many Spanish reporters were secretly happy. They felt that the name of Ramis villain should have frightened Yi Luo. He is doing great, and that's all. As a child, how dare he confront a bald giant with a height of 1.9 meters and a sturdy figure like Ramis. Put Yellow and Ramis together. Iran is the image of an obedient high school student with good looks. One is the image of the prison bully in the prison, simply incomparable. Yes, that's what he said. Did you know that the last time Messi was injured was due to Ramis? A reporter added fuel and vinegar. Messi and Ronaldo have been able to maintain their peaks for many years, and one thing is related to their less injured physiques. Otherwise, how can a glass man be the king of the ball? Okay, I get it now. Yi Luo nodded. The Spanish reporters were a little disappointed. They thought Yi Luo was going to give up. You get him ready, I'll put one in his zone. Yi Luo grinned. Let all the Spanish reporters froze. This kid, don't you know how to be afraid? Scared? Of course Yi Luo wasn't afraid anymore. Isn't he just a villain with poor defensive ability and can only create a villain image to scare opponents? Scared of a hair, and Yi Luo found it beneficial to do so. For example, the system now has a side mission. Teach Ramis a lesson. How to teach it? The system didn't say either. I can only find out by myself. The media in Longua also picked up on the war of words between Yi Luo and Mallorca. Many Dragon Kingdom fans were very worried after hearing about Ramis' notoriety. I know that Messi was injured last season by him. This man is a villain. A professional red card. I think if you can't break the record, you can't break the record. It's important to avoid injuries. Yeah, there's no need to force yourself with this kind of person. The fans were talking. Most of the speeches hoped that Yi Luo would be more careful and would not be forced to fight the other party. The most important thing is to protect yourself and not get hurt. This is the mainstream of Longua's domestic media and fans. Many retired Longua football stars also came out to give Yi Luo suggestions. Instruct Yi Luo how to kick. After all, Yi Luo's presence in Longua now means traffic, and everyone wants to come and hang out. Many people persuaded Yi Luo to keep a low profile. After all, he was making a living on other people's land, and the full moon would be a loss. These thick and dark principles of life have frequently appeared in the domestic public opinion field during this period of time, fueled by the media. The atmosphere of this match between Mallorca and Malaga at home was pushed to the climax. Almost all eyes are on this game, in addition to the fans of both sides. Fans of other teams also joined the battle group. Fans of Real Madrid and Barcelona actually stood in the same camp, both supporting Malaga to prevent Yellow from scoring. Needless to say, Barcelona fans, of course they do not support Yi Luo to break Messi's record. The fans of Real Madrid are cheering for Ronaldo. If Yi Luo does not score, he will not be able to threaten the position of the scorer list. That's it. Under the spotlight, the Malaga team arrived in Mallorca, from when they showed up at the airport, all the way to their hotel. They could all feel the city's ill will towards them. An ordinary La Liga league, because of this incident, has become less ordinary. Various slogans hang around the hotel where Malaga lives. Needless to say, they are written with asterisks. As game time approaches, the commotion outside gradually subsided. No matter how comfortable it is to pinch your feet, it is better to go directly to the second floor. The war of words is fierce, and it is not as good as real swords and guns on the court. Many people think that it is not easy for Luo to score goals in this game, or it is very, very difficult, because Mallorca want nothing. They don't care about winning or losing. They don't even care about other Malaga players scoring goals. They only care about Luo. This game is not Malaga versus Mallorca, it's Luo versus Mallorca. Under these circumstances, who can believe that Luo can score a goal? This is simply not possible. The St. Moise Stadium, which can accommodate more than 6,000 people, was packed. The ticket sales department of the Mallorca club is really happy. When will the tickets for Mallorca's home games be hard to find? How much they hope that such scenes will happen more times. This way they can plan to expand the stadium. When Luo and his teammates go out to warm up, there was a huge booing in the stadium that was already full. The deafening boos made Malaga's players look worried, and many Malaga's players complained about the media. They think the media made this game the way it is. This should have been an ordinary game. It feels like we're on the territory of our mortal enemy. Isco was speechless. What is this? Can they still come down and beat us? Luo laughed. Just at this time, crackling, a dense burst of coins smashed down from the stands. Fuck! Luo hurriedly hid where the coin couldn't hit, and wiped off his cold sweat. Then the security personnel of the stadium rushed up to stop the behavior of the Mallorca fans. Exciting! Luo sighed. This scene is really the first time I saw it. Isco rolled his eyes. Doesn't this guy know that it's more difficult to score goals in this situation? Really heartless. Luo seemed unaffected by the scene. He is earnestly preparing to warm up, but in fact, he can't wait for the game to start. The joy of life is to defeat enemies who have oppressed, bullied, despised, and humiliated but are much stronger than you. Then, rob their wives and daughters, own their property, and watch them wash their faces with tears. This is the greatest joy of being a hero. This sentence suddenly popped up in Luo's mind. He looked at the stands of the St. Moise Stadium and shook his head regretfully. Unfortunately, Mallorca is not a much stronger enemy. This kind of atmosphere is indeed rare in La Liga. Many reporters from Longwo are worried about Luo's game stayed in this atmosphere, but when the game started, Luo's performance was normal, and his actions could not be seen to be affected by the fans at the scene. Stop the ball, pass the ball, dribble, shoot, pretty much the same. Under such an atmosphere, Luo was not affected at all, but the key to this game is whether he can score goals. In the commentary booth, Andres, the commentator of Kobe Radio, said, "This is what everyone is looking forward to, and look at the lineups of both sides. Malaga's side is normal. Since Malaga only fights in a single line, as long as there are no injuries, they basically continue the main lineup, and Mallorca is a big change. Because they hardly send any offensive players, and all of them are defensive players playing. 5 defenders, 4 midfielders. When this lineup is put out, all the cameras are aimed at Laudrup on the sidelines. No one thought of it. Mallorca actually put on such an extreme formation, and in the game, Mallorca also completely shrunk. Wherever Luo appeared, the density of defense would be unprecedented. As for other areas, they don't care. Under these circumstances, the scene of the game is naturally very ugly. But at this time, no one cares about this. Everyone wants to see if Luo will score in this situation. For Malaga, scoring goals is not difficult, but for Luo himself, what he has to face is the densest defense. This is the most difficult iron barrel array to break. End of this chapter. Chapter 84 is Making History. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boy, you better be honest. That this is the warning of the famous villain Ramus after completing a foul. Don't you freak out, the kid, his partner, Nunez, whispered as he headed back to his zone. Hey, if you don't use some tricks, I'm afraid you really can't stop his goal. Ramus smiled indifferently. Seeing Luo's eyes looking at him, the bald guy smiled. Honestly, Yi Luo was thinking about how to score a goal. Breaking the dense defense is nothing more than breaking through to create set kicks, long shots, and crosses from the side. Now seeing Ramis' appearance, Yi Luo remembered the side mission of teaching Ramis a lesson. If it is like this, that's easy to do. Yi Luo catches the ball on the outside, adjusts his pace, and then directly shoots from a long distance. To put it bluntly, dense defense is to accumulate enough people in front of the goal, and rely on the advantages of numbers to make up for loopholes and gaps. Under these circumstances, Yi Luo has enough space to complete the long shot. Although it is said that most of his shots will hit the defensive players, to be precise, it is Ramis' body. Yes. Yi Luo came up with a long-range shot, a long shot aimed at Ramis' defense zone. Are you not a villain? Then let's see how many times you can stop it. Yi Luo, who has burst shooting skills, has increased his shooting power by 10%, and his ball speed has also increased by 5%. In addition, his shooting power is already very strong, so when he deliberately exerts full force, his shooting power is also great. You can imagine, after receiving the pass from his teammate, Yi Luo looked at Ramis' position, and kicked him directly. Boom! The football hit Ramis hard in the chest and bounced away. Ramis staggered and almost fell to the ground. He only felt that his chest was hot, and when he picked up his clothes, a reddened area had appeared. This kid. Great shot power. Ramis began to feel a little bad in his heart. He saw the smile on the corner of Yi Luo's mouth. Suddenly an idea popped into my mind. This kid, didn't he do it on purpose? St. Moise Stadium, the home team's fans cheered. They were all cheering for Ramis to block Yellow's shot with his body, cheering for Mallorca and Ramis. From their perspective, Yellow's shot hit Ramis, which speaks volumes for how successful Mallorca's defense was, to the extent that Malaga could only attempt long-range shots from the outside, which in turn had to face Mallorca's intensive defense. The current situation is very favorable for Mallorca, as long as the game continues like this. The Malaga team will definitely become more impatient. The fans in the stands have already begun to look forward to laughing at Yi Luo's situation after Yi Luo failed to score a single goal. However, they soon found out, things don't seem to be as simple as imagined. Boom! Yi Luo made another shot from the outside. The back of the right foot was slammed behind the football, then the football goalpost hit Ramis in the stomach as he charged forward. This time Ramis was directly knocked to his knees by such a shot. The football bounced back and just landed in front of Yi Luo again. Yi Luo didn't stop the ball, but volleyed vigorously against the football. This time the football hit Nunez's head and popped out of the bottom line. Ramis knelt on the ground clutching his stomach, while his partner Nunez fell to the ground on his back, touching the top of his head with his hands. His expression was very painful. Obviously it was not a serious beating. Ramis began to have a sense of foreboding. None of the other Mallorca players suspected that Yi Luo did it on purpose, but he always felt that this kid did it on purpose. The pain in his stomach made Ramis start to seriously think about a question. If the ball is lower and hits the vital point, will it blow up Dandan? Although Ramis is notorious, but he's not crazy, why did he still fight against Yi Luo at the risk of Dan being blown up? So, no one knows. The most vicious Ramis on the surface. I have already started to feel fear in my heart. Nunez, who made bold statements before the game that he would stop Yi Luo from scoring at all costs, was actually muttering in his heart, it's not just two central defenders. Isn't that true of other Mallorca players? The feeling of being hit by the opponent's shot is not good, but if you want to rush to grab the ball, the result is that Yi Luo cleanly passed it. After losing his position, Yi Luo's shot finally began to threaten Mallorca's goalkeeper's defense zone. Under these circumstances, the Mallorca players didn't dare to rush out casually, so this gave Yi Luo a more relaxed chance to shoot. Game number 11 minutes, Yi Luo received a return pass from the wing to the triangle. This kind of pass already has a certain speed. When Yi Luo went up to meet him, he rounded his right foot and volleyed fiercely. Yi Luo's feet were completely covered by the football at this moment. At this moment, the football was severely deformed and compressed to the extreme. Boom! The roaring football cut through the air and roared towards Ramis in front of him. Heaven and earth conscience, Ramis really wanted to hide. He felt bad when he saw Yi Luo rounded his thigh and volleyed against the ball, but he might as well go forward bravely, because at least he is prepared. As a result, just as he was about to dodge, the ball was impartial and hit the goal. Given the choice, he would never block a shot with his face whatsoever. The football shot by Yi Luo hit Ramos in the face firmly. The huge sound could be heard clearly from the stands. Many people subconsciously touched their noses, as if a football had hit their noses. Ramos fell to the ground and flew out of the air. There was a trail of blood. He didn't howl, didn't roll over, but lay motionless on the grass. You know, it's routine for players to roll and howl when they fall to the ground in order to attract the referee's attention. Lying on the ground motionless like this, it is possible that he was really injured. Many people were shocked when they saw this situation. Yi Luo spread his hands to show his innocence. Football has no eyes. Hitting the body is very common in games. It's normal to get hit in the face, and, although the players in Mallorca suspected that Yi Luo did it on purpose, but they have no evidence. Núñez is now, % sure Yellow did it on purpose. He walked to Ramos' side and couldn't help but gasped. The referee is calling the team doctor to enter the field. The famous villain Ramos has already lost consciousness. The impact of hitting the door this time caused him to have a concussion. Núñez's hands were a little cold. That kid is too ruthless. He should be the villain of La Liga. He definitely did it on purpose. Absolutely is intentional. After an examination by the team doctor, made a gesture of substitution to the off-court, Laudrup couldn't help cursing secretly, and asked the substitute central defender Ruben to warm up urgently. The San Moise stadium burst into cheers, and the fans were applauding the brave Ramos. Ramos had now awoken from a brief stupor. He couldn't help looking at Yi Luo. Yi Luo grinned at him. The bald giant suddenly felt cold all over, and withdrew his gaze. Núñez saw the scene in his eyes. Even the villain Ramos is afraid of this kid. Why should I work so hard? Even if that kid breaks the record, it has nothing to do with me, right? When the game restarts, Yi Luo once again pulled out a long shot. The football went to his feet. When he made a shooting posture, the players of Mallorca gave their bodies a meal, and they did not rush out bravely to block with their bodies as before. The result is this meal. Yi Luo has already shot the ball. Núñez watched the football come towards him. At that moment, when he saw the football suddenly change from small to large, he leaned back almost subconsciously, and the football flew past his nose. Núñez breathed a sigh of relief. If he had been a little slower just now, he might have ended up with Ramos. Mallorca's goalkeeper Lux did not expect the ball to fly from Núñez's side. Núñez's position before was completely blocking Lux's position. When he found out that the ball was coming, it was already too late. He didn't even have time to make a save, just watched helplessly as the football hit the lower edge of the crossbar with a bang and bounced off, jump inside the net. The ball went in. At this moment, the St. Moise stadium fell into a brief silence. The Mallorca fans were also a little unprepared for this conceded goal. They never expected that he would have such a sudden kick that pierced through their goal. At this time, the game was only going to 1 minutes. To stop Yi Luo's goal of failing to score in 10 minutes now seems to be a joke. When the home team fans were stunned, Malaga fans took the opportunity to make their voices heard. Their cheers resounded through the stadium. Yi Luo! Yi Luo! Beautiful! Beautiful world wave! His long shot directly pierced Mallorca's defense line. It's amazing! Zhang Jun, the commentator of Xinguang Sports, raised his arms and shouted. He was rarely so excited. The loud roar made his voice sound very sharp, but at this moment, those Longhua fans who were staying up late watching the game didn't care about this little detail. They all jumped up. He raised his arms and shouted. Break the record. Good job. Brilliant. Damn. Before the game, I thought this game would be difficult, but I didn't expect it to be like this. Fans of Longhua sent barrage in the live broadcast room one after another. On the commentary seat at the scene, Corb radio announcer Andres puts his head in his hands. The moment of a new record. Who would have thought that facing Mallorca's level of defense, Yi Luo scored a goal in the number 11 minute of the game. This is his number 30 league goal in the league this season, and he scored goals in number 11 games. World wave. Oh, oh, oh. It's a groundbreaking long-range shot. Scored goals in 11 games in a row. Yi Luo is creating his own history. Unfortunately, Ariang died that I was weak all over, and had a high temperature of 39 degrees last night. Then my whole body was sore, my limbs were weak, and I couldn't concentrate at all. today's chapter is written down with force, go to rest first, the update will be a little later tomorrow, end of this chapter. Chapter 85 Is there such a monster in history? You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the field, after finishing the shot, Yi Luo stood in place, opened his hands, and looked around the entire stadium with his head held high. The Mallorca fans opened their mouths, but found that they couldn't make a sound for a while. They really didn't know what to say. They were full of confidence before the game. I'm all on the defensive players, so I can prevent you from scoring goals alone. Can you beat me with hundreds of millions of points of strength in physical confrontation? No matter how you think about it, Mallorca has the upper hand. If you want to say that my goal is not to lose, I am afraid that it is really a little bit difficult, but aim to prevent one of them from finishing the goal. It doesn't seem to be any difficulty. But now the score of the game has been given on the big screen in the stadium, 0-1 that the home team is at the front and the visiting team is at the back. The game started less than 12 minutes ago. The rhetoric that was released before the game was smashed by someone's kick after only persisting for 12 minutes. Everyone stared blankly at the Malaga players celebrating on the field, wondering what they should say at this time. Maybe we're not the end of his record. Some Mallorca fans thought to themselves, there is a saying, to vote together. The world is wide in an instant. After figuring this out, the Mallorca fans are no longer entangled. Yes, now Yi Luo is breaking the record on them, but the real end of the record depends on whether Yi Luo can score in the next game, right? If Yi Luo's scoring streak stops here, then Mallorca will be the foil for the record. If not, it's really confusing. Not just Mallorca fans, even their players now seem to have been taken out of the backbone. Everything before the game revolved around the goal of not letting Yi Luo score a goal, but now the game time has only passed 11 or 12 minutes, and this goal has failed. So what are they going to do next? Continue to prevent Yi Luo from scoring? Still have to fight for an equalizer? The mentality of the Mallorca players was a little blown. Fortunately, after Yi Luo completed the goal, Malaga did not continue to press the onslaught, but controlled the ball in the midfield and tried to draw the opponent out. The situation of the game has become a lot more flat. In fact, it's not that Mallorca's players don't want to attack. The problem is that they didn't play any offensive players at all in this game. On Longua's network, the fans are still discussing Yi Luo's goal, and right now, in the scarf, a moving picture was suddenly widely spread. That's an animation, a gif of Mallorca centre-back Núñez in action after Yellow finishes his shot, only seen in slow motion captured by high-definition cameras. Núñez had a frightened look on his face when Yi Luo shot, and then his body began to fall back. As he fell back, the soccer ball flew towards him, right above the tip of his nose. Judging from this action, Núñez is not trying to block the shot at all, but is avoiding the shot. Is this what you call doing whatever it takes? Translation, what does it mean to ride a horse at any cost? Damn it, Núñez is a kung fu kid. Full marks for this set of moves. It's awesome. At a time, all kinds of ridicules came and went on the Longua network, the so-called do whatever it takes, that's it. At this time, someone also posted a moving picture of Ramis. This guy is even more outrageous than Núñez. He was hit in the face by the football without preparation because he was actively dodging the ball because of a misjudgment of the ball line. If he bravely went up, he would hit his chest at most, and he could even protect his chest with his hands. After all, it is impossible to blow a handball without expanding the defensive range. As a result, this hiding was over. The football hit him squarely in the face. That caused him to get injured. If it is an ordinary player who dodges the ball, everyone will complain but understand it. But who is Ramis? He is a big villain in La Liga, with the character design of a big villain, actually dodging the ball. This is like wearing the image of a tough guy and the result is a 0, which brings a strong contrast to people. What's more, Ramis's nonsense before the game has already made the Dragon Kingdom fans quite upset. Now seeing the other party, except for the appearance and mouth, it looks tough, but when you pinch it, it turns out to be a waste snack, unbearable to use. Ramis is famous now. It's not easy for a mediocre central defender who plays for a mid-to-lower team in La Liga and has no experience in a wealthy family to have such a big reputation in Longua. The screenshots of his rebellious interviews before the game and the picture of his face being hit by the ball during the game were made into various memes and emoticons by netizens, which were widely circulated on Longua's network. Enduring, it's not just Longwa's netizens who discovered the behavior of two Mallorca central defenders dodging the ball. Under the camera screen, everything is invisible. In the network circles of European countries, many people also amplified the poor performances of Núñez and Ramos and posted them on various social media. The two quickly became laughingstocks. If you put the most ruthless words, you will be beaten the most viciously. Sidelines, the Danish legend Laudrup embraced the unicorn arm and stared at the court with a frown. His tactics were completely disrupted. Who would have thought that under such a defensive posture, Yi Luo would score a goal in the number 11 minute of the game? It is normal for the Mallorca team to be at a loss now, even a little bit at a loss. Many players don't quite understand the significance of this game. They put too much emphasis on preventing Yi Luo from breaking the record before the game, which instead became the shackles of the Mallorca team. Just now, his assistant showed him the screen on the phone with a rather ugly face. When I saw the two slow-motion pictures on the phone, Laudrup's unicorn arm could hardly bear it anymore. Damn it, that he cursed in a low voice. Anger surged up, his face flushed red. These horses are two undercover agents. Especially Ramos. You said it's okay to dodge the ball, but you still haven't dodged it, causing yourself to be injured. This is a joke. It is conceivable that this picture will become the laughing stock of the whole world. Laudrup suppressed the anger in his heart and turned his eyes back to the court. He came to the sidelines, pressed his hands down, and signaled the team to continue to defend. To be honest, in this case, what the head coach can do is really limited. Even if he makes substitutions, it is difficult to make very large adjustments. What's more, the current team staffing on the court cannot support Mallorca's attack at home. And how to defend? Should we continue to focus on Yi Luo, or should we defend Malaga from scoring goals? Standing position, filling position, assisting defense, and so on, and either can be rearranged in a simple sentence or two. So although Mallorca has a large number of defenders and has accumulated enough defensive strength in the penalty area, their defense is becoming more and more chaotic. After scoring the goal, Yi Luo was no longer obsessed with his own goal. After attracting the defense, he also gave assists to other players. Game number 207 minutes. After holding the ball from the wing, Yi Luo slid to the edge of the small penalty area, and then sent the ball to Isco's feet in an inverted triangle. Isco made a fake shot before receiving the ball, and when the opponent's defensive players made blocks one after another, and even the goalkeeper gave up his center of gravity, he calmly dunked the ball to his right foot. Then easily pushed the empty goal. Another city in Malaga. But it wasn't Malaga's last goal in the first half of the game. Game number 309 minutes, Yi Luo sent another assist. This time, it was a fake shot from the front of the penalty area and a real pass, sending a scalpel version of the pass to center Baptista. Baptista faced the goalkeeper and scored the ball calmly. Malaga lead by 3 goals. The first half of the game is not over yet. Mallorca, who played at home, was about to be beaten by Malaga. After this goal, there was a picture of a large number of fans exiting the St. Moise Stadium on the TV screen. For Mallorca fans, this game is indeed a bit embarrassing. No way, who made such a full statement before the game. Fortunately, the first half of the game is almost over. The Mallorca players finally came to their senses after losing the third goal. All 3 are lost. If you lose it again, it will be a tragedy. So everyone worked very hard to shrink the penalty area and defend resolutely, and Malaga did not score at the end of the first half. The referee blew the whistle to end the first half. The Mallorca players walked towards the player tunnel with their heads down. On the Malaga side, the players were talking and laughing in 2s and 3s. They were indeed very relaxed in this half, getting most of the possession and completing 19 shots. I had a great time playing. The camera lens also locked on Yi Luo. Consecutive number 11 goals in La Liga. Yi Luo is creating his history. Who can believe that this is his debut season? La Liga has ushered in another superstar. Yes. He is a superstar. With his performance in this half-season, he is enough to be called a superstar. That the commentators sang praises for Yi Luo. In the home team locker room, everyone also congratulated Yi Luo on his achievements. After Yi Luo accepted the congratulations from his teammates with a smile, he didn't have much trouble in his heart. He didn't feel much about breaking the record, because, if he remembers correctly, the record that Messi will create in the future is to score goals in 21 consecutive La Liga rounds. Only 11 rounds, a long way to go. It is different from the relaxed atmosphere in the dressing room here in Malaga. here in Mallorca, the players were silent from the moment they entered the locker room, because everyone saw Laudrup's livid face. Many people thumped in their hearts, wondering if Ramis' injury was serious. It won't be that serious if you get bored by the ball, right? Fortunately, everyone saw that Ramis was still in the locker room with a dazed expression on his face, not sent to the hospital, indicating that the problem is not serious. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. There was a bang. Laudrup's unicorn arm slammed on a cabinet door, let the whole locker room roar. Everyone hurriedly sat in their respective positions, lowered their heads, and said nothing. It seemed that they were very disappointed and frustrated with the first half of the game. Núñez. Laudrup was very angry. Won't you explain the goal? Núñez looked up in surprise and looked at the team's head coach. He suddenly stuttered. That I made a low-level mistake in defense. I am very disappointed in myself. I promise that this problem will not occur in the second half of the game. Damn it. Do you think you just made a mistake? Laudrup's temples throbbed with anger. What at all costs, what don't mind using fouls to stop? Look at your performance. You are simply clowns. Laudrup practically pointed at Núñez's nose and swore. Núñez also has a temper. Don't look at you as the head coach. Everyone is working and eating. The big deal is that there is no place to stay here. He stood up abruptly, glaring at Laudrup. Just now, Ramis next to him hastily grabbed him. What are you doing? Why does he say me? Whoever makes no mistakes on the court, which one of you dare to say that you have no mistakes? Núñez growled. The surrounding players were frightened silly. They didn't expect that such a game would lead to a conflict between the players and the head coach. Just now, Ramis forced an embarrassing smile on his fierce face. Dude, stop, our performance has been seen through, you'd better check your Twitter account. Ramis is afraid to open Twitter now anyway. He was blown up by the internet, and he didn't dare to speak back. Thought here, Ramis couldn't help touching his big bald head. Can this villain continue to do it? There will be no deterrent effect if you say any threats in the future. Seeing his partner like this, Núñez also felt something was wrong. He turned his head to look at the head coach with difficulty. Why does he say me? He pointed at Laudrup. Just because he is our head coach. He can say anything. Núñez gave in. Don't know what happened though, but it is best not to continue to anger the coach at this time. Screw it. Smash it. Laudrup was furious. He paced back and forth a few steps. Shame, so embarrassing. How will we play in the second half? Put on the offensive hand to play offense. This seems to be the only way now. Thinking of this, Laudrup suppressed the anger in his heart and began to arrange the tactics for the second half of the game. Second half of the game, people saw two Mallorca players standing on the sidelines ready to come off the bench. These are two forwards. Mallorca started to replace the striker in the second half of the game. It seems that they also know that their efforts to prevent Yi Luo from breaking the record have failed. The second half of the game may become a normal football match. In the commentary booth, Andres, the commentator of Kobe Radio, said, the game did get a little more normal in the second half. At least Mallorca started to have some offensive. The fans of the home team who have not left also gave them some support. Mallorca's morale picked up slightly. However, all of this was shattered in the number 603 minute of the game. Yi Luo cut in from the wing and scored twice, scoring the number 32nd league goal. When seeing the goal, Laudrup shook his head slightly. He used to be a very famous professional player and played in the Premier League. He has seen all kinds of geniuses, stars, superstars. At this moment, he was trying to match Yi Luo's image with those former high-spirited stars in his memory, but found that it was still impossible to find a suitable template for this guy. A monster who was able to score 32 league goals in his debut season and average more goals per game than Messi and Ronaldo. Has it appeared in history? Anyway, Laudrup just couldn't imagine it. Pellegrini applauded from the sidelines. Maybe one day I'll be proud to have coached such a player. Thought Pellegrini. Under the lens, the handsome boy from Longwa opened his arms and came to the visiting team stand, smiling and cheering towards the stand. The sweat on the tip of the hair reflects the colorful lights. Under the light, the young man was radiant and his smile was like jade. In the stands, in front of the screen, many people are crazy. First update today, 2 positive feelings. Point 1. The maximum heating temperature is 39 degrees, which comes and goes quickly. 2. Drowsy body, sore limbs and shoulders, and later developed into sore eyes. 3. This time the symptoms were relieved relatively quickly. After a good night's sleep until 11 o'clock this morning, there were basically no symptoms of body pain except coughing. It seems that the sheep are not far away, and the hood cannot be taken off. End of this chapter. Chapter 86. You are listening at novelfull.audio. We lost to a genius. At the post-match press conference, Laudrup refuses to say anything about his two centre-backs dodging the ball. For a manager, he can point a player's nose and curse in the locker room, but you can't speak ill of your players in front of the media. It's immoral. So no matter how upset Laudrup was, he didn't directly expose it. Instead, any questions and discussions from the media on this aspect are rejected. And Pellegrini did not hesitate to give Luo praise. He's the best player in the world right now. Pellegrini said. Of course, this also triggered discussions in the media without any suspense. After this round of the league, Real Madrid and Barcelona in the championship group all won, but on the media page, Malaga and Luo overwhelmed Real Madrid and Barcelona and became the protagonists of this round of the league. The 11 consecutive league goals created by Luo also successfully broke the previous record, and now this record of consecutive goals belongs to Luo alone. But it may be that things must be reversed in extremes, and prosperity must decline. In the league number 33 rounds, Malaga was defeated by Athletic Bilbao, in the away game. This game ended Malaga's unbeaten streak of 14 games from the 30th round of the league to the th round of the league. It also ended their 10-game winning streak. Luo's consecutive scoring record also stayed at 11 games. It's nothing, it's just starting over. After the loss, Luo's expression was not very good. When facing the reporter's microphone, he left the field while talking. After losing this game, Malaga is only 1 point ahead of number 5 Atletico Madrid. This change in points made many Malaga fans quite nervous. It also made Pellegrini quite annoyed. The last few rounds of the league are left, and every game is a final for us. We can't afford to lose this game, and our points lead is only 1 point left. Originally we had a very good position. We could even catch up to number 3. But now we have lost this position, and now we have to accept the situation of fighting for the top 4 opponents to the final round. This pressure, who caused it is yourselves. Pellegrini scolded everyone and made everyone unable to lift their heads. After more than half a season of running in, he has successfully established his authority within the team. Don't blame me for putting pressure on you, because the current pressure is nothing. If we can't even bear this pressure, why should we play in the Champions League? There are only 5 rounds left in the league. For Malaga, the only good news after the loss is that the 3 consecutive away games are over, followed by 3 consecutive home games, and the opponents are not strong teams. In the 4th round of league number 30, Malaga played against Racing Santander at home. In this game, some media poured cold water on Malaga, thinking that they are about to usher in a stage of decline. In the critical period of the last few rounds of the league as the season is coming to an end, Malaga suddenly lost its good form, and the state of their core player Luo seems to be going down. He has exploded for half a season, and as a new star, he has also exploded long enough. It's time to enter a period of status rest and recuperation, because of the sudden appearance of Luo, Messi and Ronaldo's competitor. Similar arguments continue to appear in those big Spanish media. This is the expectation of these media. Hope that Malaga will not win again. Hope that Yellow will not score again. However, Malaga returned to the home court and defeated Racing Santander cleanly. Luo scored 2 goals in this game. Scored his number 34 league goals. Malaga also won the next 2 games against Hercus in the 5th round of the league number 30 and against Sporting Gijón in the 6th round of the league number 30. Luo also scored a goal in each of these 2 games, continuing the scoring momentum. In the 7th round of league number 30, Malaga will challenge Levante away. Malaga played very hard in this game. Until game number 8:07 minutes, Luo blasted the opponent's goal with a direct free kick, while killing the opponent. He also increased his league goals to 37. This is the end, the focus of everything, all focus on the last round of La Liga this season. For Malaga, after a wave of 4 consecutive victories, they scored 65 points and ranked 4th in the league, 3 points behind number 3 Valencia and 3 points ahead of number 5 Atletico Madrid. The last round of the league, Valencia played Barcelona away, and Malaga played away to Atletico Madrid. If Malaga wins and Valencia loses, then Malaga will overtake Valencia and rank 3rd in the league. In the case of the same score in La Liga, the ranking priority will be compared with each other's records. The mutual record between Malaga and Valencia is, Malaga lost to Valencia, at home, and defeated Valencia, away, with a total score of, and the mutual record is dominant, so as long as Malaga wins, they have a chance to rush to 3rd in the league. And Barcelona has enough motivation to win this game because they are only 1 point ahead of Real Madrid now. With a 1-point difference, they didn't even dare to tie, therefore, it is unlikely that Valencia will retreat at the new camp. Atletico Madrid is also a member of the competition for the top 4, if Atletico Madrid can beat Malaga at home, they can tie the scores of both sides, but considering that Atletico Madrid lost, away to Malaga, therefore, they must have a score of more than 2-0. That is, at least 2 goal difference scores, to surpass Malaga and rank 4th. In addition to competing for the 4th and the championship, the media are also concerned about the competition for the La Liga scorer list that has attracted the attention of the world this season. Yellow scored 37 league goals, but he still ranks 3rd to be exact, tied for 2nd with Messi. Cristiano Ronaldo overtook Messi to top the standings with 38 league goals, although his performance is already quite amazing. Take a look at the scores of the shooters behind those three. Number 4, Villa, 21 goals, number 5, Aguero, 20 goals, number 6, Pedro, 17 goals. Then there are 15 balls and 14 balls. In fact, this is normal, not just La Liga. The striker golden boots of the other 5 major leagues are actually about the same level. In the Bundesliga, you can get a small steel cannon with about goals in a season. The single-season scoring record in Premier League history is only 34 goals. For example, number 4 Villa, in the past, if he was lucky, he could compete for the golden boot of the season, so Luo's 37 league goals are shocking enough. Even if he doesn't win the golden boot this season, absolutely no one will comment on his achievements. At least, this year's Golden Boy award is firmly established. No one can compete with Luo for this award. The European Golden Boy Award, Golden Boy, is an award established by the Italian Turin Sport in 2003. The award is voted by important European media to select the best young player of the year, and it is also considered a mature ceremony for young rookies. The selection objects must be young players under the age of 21 playing for European clubs, but let alone players under the age of 21, there are not many players over the age of 21 who can be compared with Luo. However, Luo is definitely not satisfied with this. He is full of desire for the golden boot. In the last round of the league against Atletico Madrid, there is too much for Malaga. The top 3 are Luo's golden boots. The topic is also full enough. These days, there are many more fans who drive to the team's training base to watch the team's training, and support the team with slogans. The media also gathered here one after another, a detailed report on each day of the team's preparations. At time, the training base was crowded with people and it was very lively, in addition to the fans or reporters. This season's Malaga is finally not the little transparency of the previous La Liga. Before this, how could there be so many reporters in the small base of Malaga? With the season coming to an end, various transfer rumors are also rampant. In the whole of Europe, who is the hottest right now? That must be Luo. This is not to say that he is now recognized as the best player in the world, but, among the top superstars, Luo is the only player who could be taken away from his home team. Others, do you want to take Messi away from Barcelona? The current Barcelona president is not crazy. Are you going to take Ronaldo away from Real Madrid? He is still at his peak. How could the shrewd Florentino let him go, let alone a player of this level? The core of the first-line giants is not very easy to dig, but what kind of giants are Malaga? Isn't it just a matter for the rich and powerful teams to poach their stars? So many teams with a little bit of money and a little bit of fame began to salivate at Malaga, and they all wanted to take away Luo, the most popular fried chicken in today's football. With the efforts of various toilet paper newspapers, Luo hasn't finished playing this season yet. next season will have to play for at least a dozen clubs, around the training base, fans and reporters surrounded. This scene made many Malaga club workers full of confidence in the future, although the team has changed owners, but most of the staff is not replaced. After all, there are many staff who have worked here for more than 10 years, more than 20 years, and even from the age of 60. On the one hand, they are old employees of the club, and on the other hand, they are the most loyal fans of the team. Their affection for Malaga is stronger than anyone's. They don't like Malaga because of any stars, or because Malaga has achieved results that they can show off in the world. They have been fans of Malaga since childhood. Their father, mother, grandparents, are also Malaga fans. They never liked Malaga because it was a team that could compete for the title, but just because this is their home team, that's it. Yi Luo is very eager to win the league Golden Boot, of course. He is more eager to get in the top 4 and participate in the UEFA Champions League. Technically speaking, today's UEFA Champions League is a more technical event than the World Cup. The technical content of the UEFA Champions League final is usually higher than that of the World Cup final. Excluding the nationalism carried by the World Cup, purely from a technical analysis, top clubs compare with top national teams. On the one hand, the selection range of top clubs is from all over the world. At the same time, the club can carry out a longer tactical run-in. The national team cannot do both. For Yi Luo himself, he may not be able to participate in the World Cup for the rest of his life, and so, the Champions League is the highest level of football competition he can participate in. This is his World Cup alone. The Longwa media are also warming up for this game. This is Yi Luo's final. Malaga, advance to the Champions League. Who will get it? Battle for the Golden Boot. For a while, various headlines appear in the headlines of the media, and the reason why the media attach so much importance to this game, it is because it is the first time that a Dragon Country player has the opportunity to compete for the Golden Boot of the 5 major leagues, and it is also the first time that a Dragon Country player is the core to lead the team to the Champions League. Before this, it was not that there were no Dragon Country players who had played in the Champions League, but there is no way to attract such attention as Yi Luo. Prior to this, there were 2 Longwa players who had played in the Champions League. The first is Sun Xiang, who played for Eindhoven. On February 2007, in the first round of the UEFA Champions League 21/2006 finals in the 2007-1 season, Eindhoven played against Arsenal. In the 8th minute, Sun Xiang came off the bench and realized the 0 breakthrough of the Dragon Kingdom players in the UEFA Champions League. The second place is Dong Yuanjua. On December 2007-12. In the UEFA Champions League group stage of the 12-2007 season, Manchester United faced Rome. In the 2008 minute, Dong Yuanjua came on as a substitute for Rooney and became the number 72 Dragon Country player in the UEFA Champions League. However, the performance was mediocre. This is the only 2 appearances of Longwa players in the Champions League. Both are fringe players at their respective clubs, so even if it is an appearance, it is difficult to have any outstanding performance. But Yi Luoka is different. He is the heart of Malaga. If you don't leave Malaga in this summer transfer window, you will definitely be able to participate in the Champions League as the core of Malaga. And with Yi Luo's crazy performance in La Liga, it is normal for the media in Longwa to be full of expectations for Yi Luo. Yi Luo will definitely be able to see another 0 breakthrough of Longwa players, scoring goals in the Champions League. Originally, it was because the game time of La Liga was not friendly, and the broadcasting technology was not as good as that of the Premier League. Now the league that is getting more attention in China is the Premier League, but now Yi Luo has sparked the upsurge of La Liga, and the number of people following La Liga in China has surpassed that of the Premier League in an instant. A female Zhao Riyu can turn many Longwa fans into NBA fans, not to mention football. How aggrieved Longwa fans are in football is simply beyond human understanding. In the spotlight, the last round of the league came as scheduled. At the Calderón Stadium, Malaga challenged Atletico Madrid away. It is naturally impossible for Atletico Madrid, who are playing at home, to give up hope. They only need to beat Malaga with a goal difference of more than 2 goals to overtake Malaga's ranking in the standings. 2 teams on this occasion, for both sides, it's all a final. End of this chapter. Chapter 87. The Key Battle. Get off your horse. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Calderón Stadium, Crowded, an hour before the game, the fans of the Sheets Legion had basically entered the stadium and completely packed the stadium. Atletico Madrid advance to the Champions League. Champions League. We're going to the Champions League. Various slogan banners appeared in the stands, the singing sounded continuously before the game started, and reached a small climax when the players from both sides came out to warm up. In the commentary booth, many commentators are sweating for Malaga. In such a frenzied atmosphere, whether Malaga can withstand it is really a question. After the players from both sides finished warming up, the atmosphere at the Calderón Stadium dropped down a little, but everyone knows that this is just the fans of the home team continuing their strength, waiting for the real moment of explosion. This is our final. Inside the visiting team locker room, Pellegrini looked at the players and said, Malaga this season is really not easy. First, they lost consecutive victories at the beginning of the season, and then finally suppressed the main four opponents in the middle of the season, the Yellow Submarine Villarreal. I did not expect Madrid at the end of the season. The competition suddenly emerged, and suddenly came a streak of victories, chasing behind Malaga, so much so that the position of number 4 in Malaga is really not safe. The current situation is more complicated. Atletico Madrid's goal difference is 3 less than that of Malaga, so if Atletico Madrid can achieve a goal difference of more than 2 goals, the goal difference must definitely exceed. However, La Liga gives priority to the results of the battle between the two sides. In the scene where Atletico Madrid wins by 2 goals, there are several situations. If the score is -2 or -2, it is Atletico Madrid contrasting with Malaga. If it is -2 or -2, a score of 3 or so, on the contrary, Malaga suppressed Atletico Madrid with the advantage of away goals. I know that the media is counting all kinds of possibilities, but for us, if we even need to calculate the mutual record in the end, and calculate the goal difference to get number 4, it is almost the same as failure. Pellegrini's voice became serious. We have an advantage in this game, but this advantage is not enough to ensure our qualification for the Champions League. We have worked hard for a season to reach this final step. How can we give up the advantages? Focus. 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 Pellegrini pointed to his temple emphatically. There isn't much to say about tactics, away games, and hold the advantage of 2 balls. Malaga was originally a team that focused on defensive counterattacks, so their tactic in this game is to defend and counterattack. Pellegrini didn't dare to work hard on such an important game. It is still based on stability. Not to mention that Atletico Madrid is also a team that mainly focuses on defensive tactics. Even at their home court, if they want to press up to play and attack in positions, then Atletico Madrid will probably also play a defensive role. Very awkward. The main axis of Malaga in this game is to defend and then counterattack. There are geniuses like Iluo and Isco in the frontcourt, which is where Malaga's confidence lies in their sharp counterattack. Inside the home team locker room, Simeone is giving his players final pre-war mobilization. Simeone found that he and Malaga really had a fate. His first game as Atletico Madrid manager was against Malaga. In that game, Iluo taught his team a good lesson. Let Simeone feel the cruelty of La Liga from the beginning. After that, relying on the players in his hands, Simeone gradually improved and established Atletico Madrid's tactical system, and achieved very good results in the second half of the season. Atletico Madrid's tactical style of midfield strangle plus quick counterattack makes them unique in La Liga. Now they have caught up to number 5 in the league standings and have a chance to reach the top 4. There are 2 roads in front of us now, one to the Champions League and one to the Europa League. Simeone looks around at his players. Is there anyone who doesn't want to play in the Champions League? The players just sat there, unresponsive. Simeone nodded slightly. Very good. It seems that everyone understands the difference between the Champions League and the Europa League. So our goal is simple: defeat the opponent, reach the top 4, and advance to the Champions League. We have been preparing for this game for almost half a month. Fortunately, we were able to retain hope in the last game before the end of the season. I look forward to this hope after the end of the 9-10-minute game. Bloom and bear fruit. I believe that everyone is very proficient in tactical preparations, but the victory or defeat of the game is not based on the so-called tactics, but on yourselves, your determination, your fighting spirit and execution ability, of course, the most important thing is momentum. I ask you to firmly control the situation from the very beginning of the game, and overwhelm them with fierce momentum. Simeone clenched his fist and swung it out suddenly, as if this punch could knock down the enemy in front of him. Attack, crush them with offense. Kill them. A player named Atletico de Madrid stood up one after another to boost morale. Both sides are well prepared. As players from both sides filed out of the locker room, they met in the player tunnel. The time from the start of the game is about to enter the countdown. Inside the player tunnel, Luo stood at the front with the captain's armband, and next to him was Atletico Madrid's vice-captain Raúl Garcia. Both sides looked more relaxed. There is no dignity or tension before the war. Luo stood quietly, waiting to be led by the referee team into the field. Suddenly, the little caddy next to him raised his head and said in a childish voice, "You are really good at scoring goals." Luo lowered his head, and saw a little blonde and blue-eyed Lolita who was looking at him expectantly. He thought it was his fans, so he smiled slightly and said, "Thank you." "So, can I ask you son not to score in this game?" The smile on Luo's face froze. "Why?" Because I want Atletico Madrid to be in the top 4, we are going to play in the Champions League. But if you Atletico de Madrid are going to play in the Champions League, you have to rely on your strength to play. If you need others to let you go, isn't that the same as cheating? Could you cheat in school? Luo laughed. No, Orisa never cheated. Little Loli shook her head like a rattle. That's right, you have to go all out on the football field. Luo said, "Do you really need to go all out?" Little Orisa blinked. "Of course, I can give you my jersey after the game. This is the jersey of the best player in the world." Luo laughed. Little Orisa's eyes lit up, and she said expectantly, "Really? Then can you help me bring David De Gea's jersey too?" Luo's face froze. "My jersey and De Gea's jersey, you can only choose one or the other. That is still David De Gea's." "Okay, I'll change David De Gea's jersey for you when I win the game." "Great." Little Orisa laughed immediately, and bouncingly pulled Luo into the stadium. Players from both sides have already stepped onto the field. The last round of La Liga this season, the key battle for the fourth quarter, the match between Atletico Madrid and Malaga is about to begin. As players from both sides lined up and entered the field, there was a bang at the Calderón Stadium as if it had exploded. The sound waves of the stadium swept across, so that the commentators in the commentary booth had to hold the headsets and shout hoarsely. "Friends in the audience, the game is about to start, and both teams are doing their best." Many Longua fans who were waiting in front of the TV, computer, and mobile phone screens were shocked when they heard this voice, and woke up from the sleepiness in the early morning. All matches in the last round of La Liga start at the same time. The game time is very difficult for Longua fans. It's already 1:30 a.m. Longua time. However, this game still attracted the attention of many Dragon Kingdom fans. This is a crucial game for the fourth. Malaga is fourth in the standings, but if they win this game, they have a chance to enter number 3, and Atletico Madrid is 3 points behind Malaga, and there is still a lead. Malaga's fourth chance. This game is a final for both sides. Let's take a look at the starting lists of both sides. Atletico Madrid still has a 442 system. Goalkeeper De Gea, center-back combination Godin partner Dominguez, left-back Luis Felipe, full-back Barrera, for midfielders are Thiago, Suarez, Raúl Garcia, Reyes. The double striker combination is Atletico Madrid South American striker combination Agüero and Diego Forlán. And Malaga is still Eamon's 43-12 system. The goalkeeper is Asenjo, the central defender combination Demichelis partner Ivan Gonzalez, the left-back Rosario, the right-back Gómez. The midfielder Malaga sent 3 defensive midfielders, Camacho, Fernando, Juanito. The front trident is Luo, Baptista, Isco. This is the most regular starting lineup for the two sides in recent rounds of the league. Neither side has any reservations. This will be a big battle between Sparks and the Earth. As the commentators finished introducing the starters of both sides. A series of ceremonies before the game also ended. With the whistle of the referee, the game officially begins. At the beginning of the game, Atletico Madrid, which took the lead to kick off, was uncharacteristically showing an aggressive offensive posture. The football was passed to the left right away. Left back Felipe Luis goes down after receiving the ball and makes a direct pass. The football hit the foot of Malaga right back Gomez except for the baseline. Corner kick. Atletico Madrid won the first corner kick of the game within 10 seconds of the start of the game. That the commentators in the commentary booth were all excited. They can all see that Atletico Madrid's offensive posture is quite fierce. Raúl Garcia takes the corner. Later. In the exclamation of the narrators, Diego Forlán from the back point grabbed the point and headed the ball towards the goal. Bang! In a burst of inhalation, the football hit the crossbar and bounced off the bottom line. Crossbar. Why so much for Diego Forlán's goal? Atletico Madrid gave Malaga a blow at the start of the game. This game is good. Atletico Madrid is not conservative at all. They have two first-class strikers. Malaga may not be able to withstand Atletico Madrid's mad attack. On the commentary, the narrators all exclaimed. Diego Forlán held his head in his hands and stood in the penalty area regretfully. Simeone on the sidelines was so regretful that he was about to kneel. Atletico Madrid fans at the Calderón Stadium put their heads in their hands and stared at the football already bouncing on the billboard. There is an urge to go down and kick this damn football into the goal by myself. If the ball hits the goal, get off to a fantastic start, then Atletico Madrid's hope of overtaking Malaga in the standings is even greater. Come back to life. Tomorrow will resume normal time. Update. End of this chapter. Chapter 88 Malaga Gemini Connection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Malaga fans couldn't help but tense at the sight of Atletico Madrid's aggressive opening stages. Things that fall short have happened too many times in the football world. Although Malaga won the possession of the ball, Atletico Madrid's players acted like mad dogs. They pressed and pressed hard in the center and front court, and quickly snatched the ball back. Attack again. The passion in the Calderón stand was ignited immediately. Fans cheer for Atletico Madrid's players. Simeone was very excited on the sidelines, and the enthusiasm of Atletico Madrid's players was exactly what he hoped to see. If there is a chance to play in the Champions League, who wants to play in the Europa League? For Atletico Madrid, the sooner they score, the greater their hope of overtaking Malaga. The onslaught in the opening stage is also a very common attack tactic, because just after the kickoff and the end of the game is when the players tend to be distracted and inattentive, so this is also the time when goals are more likely to appear. Simeone is very clear that it is actually very difficult to complete the reversal of the goal difference of 2 goals, and the opponent is a team that is good at defensive counterattacks. The earlier the goal is scored, the better it is for Atletico Madrid. As long as there is a ball in hand, the mentality of Malaga will change, because on the football field, a goal can happen at any time, and once Atletico Madrid scores another goal, it means that Malaga will be contrasted and Atletico Madrid will reach fourth. Now Atletico Madrid's offensive is very fierce. What is lacking is goals. Facing Atletico Madrid's ferocious offensive, Malaga's defense was finally breached after 10 minutes of persistence. Game number 11 minutes, Diego Forlán's shot caused Asenjo's release. Agüero's clever supplementary shot in the penalty area sent the ball into the empty goal. Agüero! Agüero! In the commentary booth, the commentators shouted excitedly. The suspense is back. Atletico Madrid scored a goal. Malaga is in danger. If they concede another goal and lose the game 2 goals behind Atletico Madrid, they will lose the 4th position and fall to number 5. After the goal, Agüero rushed to the corner flag excitedly and celebrated wildly with the Atletico Madrid players. Calderón is completely boiling. The entire stadium shook suddenly at this moment. The stands are shaking. Malaga lost the ball first. This is not a very good situation. Atletico Madrid's onslaught in the opening stage reaped miraculous effects. They scored first and broke the balance on the field. Although Malaga can continue to defend in theory, they are still number 4 with this score, but 1 goal. Only 1 goal is needed. If Atletico Madrid scores another one, Malaga will fall to number 5. Zhang Jun, the commentator of Xinjiang Sports, also had a somewhat pale face. Dignified. Fans of Dragon Kingdom also became worried. Fuck. Atletico Madrid is so fierce. The striker combination of Forlan and Agüero is still awesome. This is dangerous. It's okay, Yi Luo will score. Don't be in a hurry now. Fans left messages in the chat room, and after the team lost the ball, as the captain, Yi Luo called his teammates for a meeting immediately. It doesn't matter, we are still leading in the standings. There is still plenty of time in the game. When they press on the attack, there are actually a lot of gaps behind them. This is our chance. A chance to counterattack. Just pass the ball out of them, it's over, Yi Luo said to his teammates. Hearing this, everyone's flustered hearts calmed down again. Yi Luo's words were their reassurance. That's right, Atletico Madrid are so high, attack so hard, there is a lot of space behind their backline. All it takes is a penetrating pass. It doesn't even have to be precise, just a long pass over the top. Demichelis patted his chest and said, Yi, just wait for my pass. Okay. They must be excited after scoring a goal. Let's continue to put up fences and defend. Come on, Yi Luo roared loudly. Come on, everyone stood up and shouted, then spread out, stand back in position and wait for the game to restart. When the game restarts, Atletico Madrid, with high morale, continue to bombard Malaga's goal. There is no difference from before, even more violent. After all, this is their home court. The morale and momentum of Atletico Madrid, who just scored a goal, are at their highest point, and all Atletico Madrid players are full of confidence. Why sometimes goals come one after another, it is because of the change in mentality of the side scoring and conceding the ball. In a state of excitement, anything can happen. Malaga was pressed back again, except for Yi Luo. He's still cruising the front court. Thiago crossed Suarez after holding the ball, and Suarez passed the ball to Forlan, who retreated to catch the ball. The Uruguayan veteran is very experienced. He made a fake pass of a direct pass in the process of stopping the ball and successfully changed the center of gravity of Malaga midfielder Camacho, but at this moment, Fran chose to stop the ball, and the football stopped 1 meter in front of him, which happened to be the distance where he could run up and shoot with one step. Fran. Shoot. The narrators all exclaimed. There was a cheer from Calderon stands. The Malaga fans' hearts were raised in their throats. The football draws an arc in the air and goes straight to the lower left corner of the goal. At the critical moment, the young goalkeeper Asenjo made a contribution. He made a sideways save and pushed the ball out of the baseline with his fingertips. The Atletico Madrid fans in the stands let out a sigh. The Malaga fans at the scene and in front of the TV were all terrified. If 2 goals were scored in a short period of time, it would be the worst situation for Malaga. Although the ball was saved, but almost all Malaga fans frowned, because Atletico Madrid's offensive is too fierce. Both Diego Forlan and Agüero were active, and the 2 strikers took turns threatening to keep Malaga immobilized in their own half. If this continues, it will be a matter of time before the ball is lost. Among the concerns of Malaga fans, Atletico Madrid's corner kick is taken. Asenjo struck out and knocked the ball out of the penalty area with a single punch. Outside the restricted area, Luis Felipe took a shot against the ball. The quality of the shot was very high. The football ran towards the goal against the turf, but the penalty area was very crowded. The football hit the foot of Atletico Madrid midfielder Suarez. After launching the refraction, it landed at Demichelis' feet. Demichelis went to see Yi Luo's position almost immediately. After seeing Yi Luo ask for the ball to the gap on the left near the middle circle, it was too late to aim, but it just kicked in that direction. Demichelis cleared. The narrator said one after another. The kick did look like a Bigfoot clearance, because Demichelis didn't have time to make any adjustments. The football flew diagonally in the direction of the left sideline. Yi Luo is chasing. The ball looks like it's going out of bounds. Corb radio commentator Andres said. At this moment, he was suddenly taken aback. Yi Luo. Oh. Beautiful, he saved the ball very actively. In the TV screen, Yi Luo retreated while observing the incoming ball, then jumped high when the football was about to fly out of the sideline, headed the ball back to the field, and the football fell to Isco's feet. Out of bounds. Calderon fans chanted. Atletico Madrid players also raised their hands, but the lineman didn't respond. He could see clearly that the ball was far from going out of bounds. From the TV broadcast, it can be clearly seen that Yi Luo took off in the bounds, leaned forward, and pushed the ball back. Definitely not out of bounds. Yi Luoka didn't care about the Atletico Madrid players raising their hands, and he ran straight forward after landing. Isco quickly returned the ball, the football rolled right in front of Yi Luo. Yi Luo was ready while running, facing the defense. He slightly turned his body to his side, dribbled the ball with his right foot, swiped the outside instep, and overtook the car directly from the outside line. Luis Felipe knew that he could not compete with Yi Luo in speed, so he immediately recovered to the left side of the penalty area. Same with other Atletico Madrid players who rushed back to defend. According to Yi Luo's habit, after catching up with the ball, he would cut in and shoot with the ball. After all, Yi Luo still has to compete for the Golden Boot, and he is the player in the Malaga team who has the absolute right to shoot, so he has to take the ball into the penalty area no matter what. Between 2 points, the straight line is the shortest. Yi Luo moves forward along the outside line to the penalty area, and the distance is longer than returning directly to the penalty area. Therefore, although Luis Felipe and other Atletico Madrid players are faster than Yi Luo slow, but the distance they need to return is short. Soon, both Atletico Madrid fullbacks and midfielder Reyes returned to the penalty area and stood on the left side of the penalty area. As long as Yi Luo took the ball into the penalty area, he would hit the three-man defense. Yi Luo's speed was fully up, but he is not running forward with his head covered. He is also observing the situation on the court, includes location information for opponents and teammates. All Atletico Madrid players are back on defense. The fastest of these were the two fullbacks and Reyes, and here in Malaga, Isco is going straight in the direction of the point behind the penalty area. There is no one around to guard. In Yi Luo's mind, he outlined the current position of the court and the trend of players running. At this moment, he made a decision, after a few steps to catch up with the football, that he didn't stop the ball. He didn't adjust. Instead, he directly kicked the football that was still rolling with his left foot. The inner instep of the left foot sliced the ball up, and the football flew into the air with a very obvious arc. The arc bypassed the defense line on the left side of the penalty area built by Luis Felipe, Barrera, and Reyes, and weakened to the right side of the penalty area. David De Gea didn't expect Yi Luo to pass the ball so decisively. When he turned around, he saw Isco, who had raised his foot to shoot. Yi Luo passed directly to the right side of the penalty area. Isco. Goal. Among the shouts of the narrators, Isco raised his arch, and the football hit his arch and refracted it, so the football bounced into the net. Isco. Beautiful. Yi Luo unexpectedly made a direct pass without stopping the ball, creating an unguarded shooting opportunity for Isco. The connection between the twin stars of Malaga. Wonderful. I have to praise Yi Luo's decisiveness for this ball. If he stops the ball, this opportunity may be lost. Atletico Madrid's defense is very active. Isco. The 9th league goal of the season. He scored 9 league goals in half a season. As a young player, he is quite outstanding. Of course, he cannot compare with his teammate Yi Luo. 1-1. With the connection between the Malaga twins, Malaga equalized the score. Atletico Madrid will now have to score at least 2 more goals to overtake Malaga in the standings. On the commentary, when the commentators were cheering for the goal, Calderon, who was as warm as a lava crater, fell to freezing point at this moment. All Atletico Madrid fans are holding their heads in disbelief. For Atletico Madrid, the situation suddenly took a turn for the worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 89. Seal the victory, the final suspense. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Isco scored the goal, he ran towards Yi Luo, then the two rushed to the corner flag area with their shoulders crossed, and shouted together towards the visiting team stands. Other Malaga players also rushed forward. This goal is really crucial. While equalizing the score, it also allowed Malaga to re-extend the lead to 2 goals. 2 balls are always safer than 1 ball. Everyone rushed forward one after another, and the excitement couldn't be further increased. Nice job. Damn it. I almost peed in fright. Oh. The players of Malaga celebrated without emotion, and the fans of Malaga also jumped up from their seats, waving scarves and flags in their hands, cheering for the goal. Pellegrini on the sidelines also raised his hands, clenched his fists in celebration, and then hugged his assistants. This goal is too important. If this goal appeared a little later, Pellegrini even worried that his team would lose the second goal. All Atletico Madrid's ferocious counterattacks were interrupted by this goal. Their enthusiasm and passion seemed to be extinguished by a basin of cold water. It means a lot. What makes Pellegrini feel more at ease is, at his core, his captain is an absolutely outstanding team player. Before that, Pellegrini himself was a little worried deep down in his heart that Luo missed the team by thinking about competing for the Golden Boot, but judging from this offense, Luo did not put his competition for the Golden Boot in any way more important than the team's victory. His pass is very decisive, and the opportunity is gone if it is a little late. It is really unimaginable that a famous player can always maintain such a calm and mature mentality on the court, as if he is a veteran who has experienced many battles. The goal was replayed over and over again on the TV screen. Luo took the ball to the outside to overtake. Luis Felipe and other Atletico Madrid defenders chose to return directly to the penalty area to defend the key points. All these choices seem reasonable. What people didn't expect was that Luo would directly choose to pass the ball with his foot in the back without stopping the ball, and the weight was so well controlled. Luo's pass timing and footwork are mastered to the pinnacle. Such a pass is actually very difficult. The football is still moving forward. It is necessary to accurately pass the ball past the defensive player at the previous point. On the top of the head, it is necessary to make sure to form a tacit understanding with Isco's running position. Let alone using the reverse foot, it may not be possible to pass it with the main foot, but Luo has done it very well. Of course, no one thought that he would suddenly choose to pass the ball. After all, in that position, most forwards may choose to stop the ball, or attack the penalty area by themselves, or wait for teammates to support. However, if Luo stops, the opportunity may be missed. Although it was Isco who scored the goal, but in Longwa, Luo was the one the commentators praised. Beautiful pass. This pass, it's so ecstasy. Comfortable. Feed it in your mouth. The fans also cheered for Luo, but some fans also expressed concern. Messi has scored a goal, Barcelona leads Valencia, and Hiroki hasn't scored yet. Come on. Strive to win the Golden Boot. The fans at the Calderon Stadium have already reacted. They booed sharply in the stands, but no matter how sharp the booing was, it couldn't change the fact that the score was equalized. David De Gea fished the ball out of the goal helplessly, and kicked the ball out with a big foot, venting his anger instead. In fact, he can't blame anyone for the ball just now. Even if he can predict that Luo is going to pass, he can even hit the ball, but nothing if. Atletico Madrid was equalized, and now the two sides are back on the same starting line. No. At least 2 goals must be scored. If you follow the momentum of Atletico Madrid in the opening stage, it seems not difficult to score 2 goals, but now after seeing such a sharp counterattack from Malaga, David De Gea suddenly lost much confidence in his heart. On the sidelines, Simeone frowned, feeling quite helpless. Of course he is aware of the sharpness of Malaga's counterattack, but he can't help it, because Atletico Madrid is behind, so he has to take risks and bet. However, who can guarantee that taking risks will definitely succeed, and gambling will definitely win? If it was the situation at the beginning of the game, Atletico Madrid still has a good chance of winning, but now, Simeone himself began to waver a little. To score 2 goals, you must not concede a goal against a team like Malaga who is very good at counterattacking. This is simply a paradox. If you want to score goals, you must invest resources on the offensive end, and the formation must be pressed. And if the formation is pressed, the space in the defense will be used by the opponent. This situation is really uncomfortable. Malaga can comfortably counterattack, but Atletico Madrid needs to press up and attack in a position they are not very good at. But does Simeone have any other options? He didn't, so he can only continue to gamble. Press up and attack. There is still a chance. If you just use up the game time like this, you will have no chance at all, so Simeone called Raúl Garcia to the sidelines. Attack. Let's continue to attack. The offensive in the opening stage is very good, and their defense is not foolproof. Raúl Garcia nodded repeatedly. Amidst the boos, Simeone's latest instructions were conveyed to every Atletico Madrid player. The boos were for the Malaga players who were still celebrating. Malaga's players are in no hurry. If the referee doesn't intervene, they can celebrate until the end of the first half. The fans at Calderón scene also reacted. There were sharp boos, especially Yi Luo. When the Malaga players finished celebrating and returned to their own half, the camera lens locked on Yi Luo. While on the screen, the decibels of the boos immediately rose sharply, as if the entire stadium was about to be overturned by the boos. However, Yi Luo under the camera looked as usual, talking and laughing with Isco, who was beside him, and walked back. For Yi Luo, the shriller the booing of the opposing fans, the louder the decibels. This shows that the better his performance, the more frightened they are. This is a different kind of compliment, and now Malaga doesn't need to worry at all. It is Atletico Madrid that needs to be anxious. This was also confirmed after the game restarted. Atletico Madrid still presses the attack, but their offensive threat has been greatly reduced, because their mentality changed. They began to feel a little anxious. The specific manifestation is that I lost patience in the offensive organization. I wanted to pass the ball in the direction of Malaga with one pass. When I reached the wing, I just passed the ball. Not only was this impetuous attack ineffective, instead, Malaga had more opportunities to fight back. The conversion of the ball began to become more frequent. Game number 3:03 minutes, Atletico Madrid fullback Barrera forced a cross after receiving a pass from the right. The football hit the defender and bounced on the right rib of Malaga's penalty area. The right back, who shrunk in to defend, was the first to get the ball. He looked at Yi Luo's position in front of him, and with a kick that was close to shooting, he drew the ball forward with the back of his foot. The football is moving forward at a very fast speed against the ground. Yi Luo, who was accurate and dashed forward, appeared in a line. Yellow. In the exclamation of the narrator, Yi Luo didn't need to touch the ball. He could increase his speed, chase the ball over the half-court, and when the speed of the football slowed down a little, he took another step and accelerated again. Yi Luo got the ball on the right side. The commentators on the commentary booth immediately focused all their attention on Yi Luo, who was leading the ball forward on the field. The Calderón stadium suddenly booed everywhere, and the sharp boos suppressed everything, but it did not affect the speed of Yi Luo's dribbling. Simeone's body tensed up suddenly. He felt a little relieved when he saw Atletico Madrid's defense line. The two central defenders Godin, Dominguez, and left-back Felipe did not press up, but stayed inside. Felipica was on the inside and didn't dare to rush out to grab. Meanwhile, Godin and Dominguez are observing the positions of the other Malaga players. Okay, this time because Yi Luo brought the ball up too fast. So even if he passes the ball, no player from Malaga can catch up. Isco and Baptista are surrounded by defensive players, and their speed cannot keep up with Yi Luo. If Yi Luo wants to wait for the support of his teammates, the one who came back first was Atletico Madrid's defensive player. That is as long as the card is inside, Yi Luo is not allowed to cut in and shoot. Let him continue to go outside, and shoot from a small angle when he is close to the bottom line at most. Godin and Felipe came out to meet him, and got stuck on Yi Luo's route to the inside. At the same time, De Gea also stood firmly in the near corner, almost the same situation as it was before Malaga scored a goal. The difference is that Yi Luo is on the right this time, and none of his teammates can catch up in time. Yi Luo stared at the positions of Godin, Felipe, and De Gea, and continued to dribble forward diagonally. His brain has already started to run at high speed. He had to make a decision between flashes and flints, because any hesitation will turn this counterattack opportunity into a positional attack. Atletico Madrid's players returned to defense very quickly. During the running, Yi Luo had already started to make plans. He made a resolute gesture, allowing Godin and Felipe to fight and retreat simultaneously. While running, his right calf suddenly flicked like a whip. The outer instep of the right foot suddenly sliced the ball up, and the football flew into the air with a strong spin. Godin is guessing Yi Luo's choice. Yellow's main foot is his right foot, but his left foot shot is also very threatening. But now Godin and Felipe are mainly defending Yellow's inner cut. If he cuts in, Godin and Felipe can just close the door and steal the ball away. Therefore, Yi Luo is likely to dribble the ball into the penalty area and then dribble the ball to the baseline to try to shoot from a small angle. This is his most likely choice and the most preferred, but Godin believes in De Gea's defense. In the case of a small angle, if you want to directly penetrate the near post defended by De Gea, unless De Gea makes a huge mistake. Just when Godin was thinking this way, Yi Luo really dribbled the ball towards the baseline. The danger has not been lifted, and Godin continues to adjust his position, ready to deal with unexpected situations at any time. Just now, he was startled. Yi Luo's right calf swayed without warning while running, and the football suddenly flew up, flying across the air in front of his shoulder. Godin didn't even have time to think about how Yi Luo kicked the ball. He jumped up in a hurry, but he didn't touch the ball at all. In the air, Godin turned his head and saw a scene that made his back sweat in shock. The football draws an exaggerated arc in the air. The ultimate direction of the football under this exaggerated arc is the goal. What about De Gea? De Gea was frantically stepping back from the front and then jumping. De Gea is fully prepared for Yellow's shot from a tight angle. In his opinion, in fact, Yi Luo only has such a shooting route, cut inside and got stuck, passing the ball. His teammates didn't come up, protecting the ball. Atletico Madrid's replay players came up and surrounded him. Therefore, a small angle and a close angle are the best choices for Malaga's interests in this situation. If you are lucky, you may be able to blast in, or hit the goalkeeper and bounce back into the penalty area too. Cause chaos, no more. It can also make a corner kick. Anyway, De Gea must not dare to say that he can catch Yi Luo's powerful shot. However, when Yi Luo suddenly kicked the ball out, De Gea was startled. Almost instinctively he ran towards the back post. In the process, he saw the whole picture of the football flying. The speed of the ball kicked by Yi Luo is not particularly fast, but the spin is very, very fast. This brought a very exaggerated arc, just bypassing Godin, and then flew towards the 10th corner of the back post of the goal. De Gea can only take a gamble. He leaps forward, stretches his body as far as possible, and stretches his arms fully. However, he didn't even touch the ball at all. I saw the football hit the back post with a bang, and then spun into the goal while rubbing against the net inside the back post. Simeone's face froze. At this moment, the booing at the Cadron Stadium seemed to be paused. Everyone looks at the football spinning in the goal. The whole stadium seemed to be frozen. It was the commentators in the commentary booth who broke the silence first. Ah! Yi Luo! God! What kind of shot is this? Arc on the outside of the instep. Whoa! He pulled out a wonderful curve ball. 1-2. Malaga took the lead in the away game. It was their core player Yi Luo who scored the goal. Number 38 league goals. Number 38 league goals. He tied Messi and Ronaldo, who are now at the top of the list. In the other two games that started at the same time, Messi scored goals, and Ronaldo hasn't scored yet. That is to say, there are 3 people tied for first place in the scorer list now. Secure the victory. Malaga has secured the victory. Now the score is 1-2. Atletico Madrid needs to beat Malaga by 3 goals, because in the comparison of the mutual records of the two sides, Malaga has 2 an away goal. In other words, if Atletico Madrid wants to overtake Malaga in the standings, they must beat Malaga with a score of -2. They must score 4 goals in the next game, and at the same time make sure that Malaga will not score. This is almost an impossible task, and Malaga has secured the victory and the qualification for the Champions League. The narrators chanted. At the same time, the goal at the Calderón Stadium also reflected it. The hisses sounded again, but this time the boos seemed a little weak, because most Atletico Madrid fans are immersed in frustration. They know what this conceded goal means. It is simply impossible to score 4 goals in a row in the next game to complete a major reversal in the standings. The game has lost any suspense. Simeone sat back on the coach's bench. Although it is said that miracles often happen on the football field, but if Malaga is really reversed by Atletico Madrid scoring 4 goals in a row, that's not a miracle. What a horror movie. Pellegrini was also relieved. Yi Luo's goal has completely stabilized Malaga's Champions League qualification. The Malaga fans in the stands also chanted, Champions League. Here we come. Andres, the commentator of Corb Radio, said with emotion, Malaga's season is really not easy. They only scored a pitiful 5 points in the first 13 games of the season. deep in the relegation zone. At that time, who would have thought that they could secure a qualification for the Champions League after the end of the season? From 5 points in 13 league games to now securing fourth, this is really a miracle. An unbelievable miracle. The TV screen is constantly replaying Yi Luo's goals. During the running, the calf suddenly swayed, very hidden. Thought it was completely unexpected that Yi Luo would handle it like this, and the arc drawn from the outer instep is so exaggerated. The football first flew towards the sideline on the other side, and after flying past Felipe and Godin, it turned towards the goal. What a wonderful arc! Andres said with emotion. Shooting the ball from the outside of the instep, it reminds me of the Portuguese winger Quaresma, but in my opinion, Yi Luo's shot from the outside of the foot is more exciting this time, with a small swing of the calf and the arc. The line is so big that Atletico Madrid's defenders had no expectations. Zhang Jun praised Yi Luo's shot in the studio. Malaga has secured the victory, and now there is only one suspense left. Who will win the Golden Boot this season? Longhua fans are also constantly admiring this goal. Beautiful. Damn. I feel like I'm writing a poem. Fuck. Fuck. Write poetry, I can. This shot is really bad, and this arc is also very good. If you can't write, you don't have to force it. Very comfortable. In the discussion of the fans, after finishing the shot, Yi Luo, who lost his center of gravity and fell to the ground, also rushed to the sidelines, slip and kneel. 3 bars. Accompanied by the cheers of the fans in the stands of the visiting team. Yellow. Long live. Fuck, I didn't make a timer last night. End of this chapter. Chapter 90 Unprecedented Fierce Competition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The atmosphere at the Calderón Stadium became a little quieter. The sound of singing and dancing. Fans of the visiting team Malaga once became the protagonist of this stadium. Atletico Madrid's efforts to qualify for the Champions League this season have failed, although some Atletico Madrid fans in the stands are still cheering for Atletico Madrid players, but it is clear to everyone that the situation is over. Atletico de Madrid's players also lost their previous spirit. Yi Luo's goal not only overtook the score, but also overtook Atletico Madrid's away goal, and completely made the Atletico Madrid players lose all their fighting spirit to continue the fight. They even looked a little dazed. At the same time, in another field, Real Madrid versus Mallorca in the game, the scene of the game was one-sided, and Real Madrid, who sit at home, completely controlled the situation. However, the fans of the Bernabeu are not very interested. Even though the team leads Mallorca, now, the news from another stadium still makes the fans of Real Madrid frustrated. Barcelona lead Valencia, at home. This means that no matter how many goals Real Madrid scores in this game, the league championship still belongs to Barcelona. At this time, it was Cristiano Ronaldo who was holding the ball. He cut in from the side, and then shot directly. The football missed the goal and flew high towards the second-floor stands. Cristiano Ronaldo, who finished the shot, clapped his palms angrily, and when he turned around, his mouth was still thinking. Just now, the referee blew the whistle to end the first half. He walked towards the player tunnel with his head covered, his face looking very ugly. Although the team is now in the lead, the goal was not scored by him, nor by a player from Real Madrid. It was an own goal that was hit by a Mallorca player when Marcelo made a cross. Ronaldo has not scored a goal so far. There were several boos in the stands. The booing made Yi Luo clear that Barcelona must have scored. Then the probability of Messi scoring a goal is very high. Messi scored. What about Yi Luo? If Yi Luo also scored, wouldn't he lose his position as the top scorer? This season, Real Madrid only won one Copa del Rey. Well, later Real Madrid even dreamed of the Copa del Rey, because it seemed easier for them to win the Champions League than to win the Copa del Rey. But for the current Real Madrid, beating Barcelona to get the Copa del Rey is not enough. They were eliminated by Barcelona in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Barcelona reached the final. The opponent is Ronaldo's old club Manchester United. Cristiano Ronaldo was very active in the first half, but he failed to score. He was a little too anxious. Now on the scorer list, Ronaldo, Messi, and Yi Luo have scored 38 goals, 3. The competition among shooters has reached a fever pitch, but there is no need to worry, there are plenty of opportunities in the second half. In the commentary booth, the Madrid commentator was cheering for Ronaldo. Bernabeu fans are also applauding Ronaldo, until his figure disappeared in the player channel. After entering the player channel, Ronaldo immediately found his teammates on the bench and asked about the situation of the other two, after learning that Yi Luo and Messi both scored. To tie his goals, Ronaldo's face became even uglier. You can definitely score in the second half, as long as you open the scoring account, the golden boot will definitely be yours. Marcelo comforted. Ronaldo clenched his fist, I will definitely score more goals. And here in Malaga, halftime is also over. As soon as the players entered the locker room, they couldn't wait to cheer. Many people even started to celebrate their entry into the UEFA Champions League in advance. Champions League! Champions League! Oh 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 oh! Isco sang loudly. De Michelis slapped the table in time. Camacho waved the sausage with his panties. For Malaga, in the real-time standings, they are not even fourth, but third. They tied Valencia and squeezed Valencia out of third by virtue of their mutual record advantage over Valencia. Pellegrini had already made up his mind before entering the locker room. He must remind the players not to get carried away, not to be too happy and so on, but seeing the players so excited, he temporarily changed his mind. The advantage of 4 balls is in hand. It would indeed be a bit unreasonable to suppress the excitement of the players cautiously. There is no suspense in this game. Everyone has worked hard for a season. No, it is half a season. It is really not easy to achieve such results. There is only the last half of the league this season left, so it's good for everyone to vent their emotions. If I reprimanded with a straight face, it might also lead to low morale among the players, so Pellegrini congratulated everyone and praised the team's performance in the first half. You deserve it, guys, you guys did a great first half, guys, let's get it right in the second half. Pellegrini looked at Yi Luo. As the head coach, he certainly knows how popular Yi Luo is in this summer transfer window that he already plans to chat with Yi Luo after this game. His tactics are based on Yi Luo's core. If Yi Luo leaves at the end of the season, Malaga will not be able to play in the Champions League next season. And we have another goal. That is, the Golden Boot. Yi Luo was taken aback. Isn't it? Pellegrini blinked at him. We can get to this point this season, the biggest hero is Yi. And now, we still have 45 minutes in the second half to help him get goals, one goal after another. Yes. Golden Boots. We will fully support Yi Na's Golden Boots. Come on. Golden Boots. Golden Boots. Golden Boots. All of a sudden, the Malaga players shouted. Pellegrini nodded in satisfaction. Although the Malaga team is not as good as Real Madrid and Barcelona in terms of lineup, the unity of their locker room must be more united than Real Madrid and Barcelona. Look at the momentum. Next season, there is a lot to do. In the first half of the game, the situation in the championship and the 4th district was very clear, so the remaining suspense is who among the top 3 shooters in the scorer list can finally win the Golden Boot this season. After the start of the second half, Messi increased the frequency of direct kicks and shots. He must also win the Golden Boot, and Cristiano Ronaldo is now in the penalty area, relying on Real Madrid's strong strength to completely suppress Mallorca, and the two sides continue to take the ball to find Ronaldo. From leading to being tied, Ronaldo is really unwilling. Now that the 3 parties are on the same starting line, if they don't work hard, the Golden Boot may fall by the wayside. Both Messi and Ronaldo work hard. But it was Yi Luo who scored first in the second half. Malaga's midfield steal, Isco's through ball. Yellow. Here it comes. In the exclamation of the narrator, Yi Luo led the ball forward and faced the goalkeeper single-handedly. De Gea attacked, but did not rush forward immediately, but kept a distance. However, after seeing De Gea's position, Yi Luo pushed his arch, and the football passed the turf to the left of De Gea, and drilled into the goal from a far angle with a small arc. Steadily score the single-handed ball. The ball went in. Beautiful. 1-3. Yi Luo scored twice. This season's number 39 league goals. He surpassed Messi and Ronaldo in the scorer list for the first time this season. Oh oh oh. Will the scorer list be reversed? Malaga's commentator shouted, just as excited as him were the fans of Malaga. They raised their arms and cheered from their seats. Yellow. Yellow. After scoring the goal, Yi Luo also ran to the visiting team stands and waved to the fans to thank him. This season is also fantastic for Yi Luo. He played in La Liga, scored goals, won, and became the most eye-catching new star in the world. It all started in Malaga. Ronaldo on the court didn't know that Yi Luo had scored, but the commentator department in charge of commentary knows. Oh, God! Yi Luo scored a goal. Yi Luo has now overtaken Messi and Ronaldo to top the scorer list. My God, he scored 39 goals in the absence of 13 rounds. Yi Luo is creating an epic legend. Yi Luo has taken the lead. Now we have a good show to watch. When Yi Luo passed the bench after celebrating under the stands of the visiting team, the substitute players told him when they came up to celebrate the goal that neither Messi nor Ronaldo had scored yet. Now he is the top scorer list. Yi Luo smiled openly, but he also knows that a one-goal lead is not very safe. Just keep working hard. But it didn't take long for the game on Malaga's side to start. The other two venues have changed. Messi cut in from the right and played a strong 2-for-1 with Iniesta. He shot from the right side of the penalty area with his left foot to the far corner. Messi. 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 Oh 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 oh. Number 39 goals. Messi scored number 39 goals in the league. The golden boot belongs to Messi. Belongs to Leo Messi. No one can take it away. The commentator who received Catalan TV shouted excitedly, almost at the same time. He froze, because in the headset, someone told him, Ronaldo also scored. Bernabeu Stadium, the audience shook and the fans cheered. Just now, Ronaldo blasted away the opponent's goal with a long-range shot, respond to the golden boot with a super world wave. 39 goals. The three shooters are back on the same starting line. Has the competition for the golden boot in La Liga ever been this fierce? The three shooters have all gone for 40 goals. Unprecedented fierce competition. End of this chapter.